Okay, I just let him know we're ready. So we're gonna
Okay,
switch
okay.
over. Okay, looks like we're live. Yeah. Hello, everybody. So I'm One-Eyed Deacon, and I'm going to be doing Bloons Tower Defense 6 All Expert Chimps. I'll let my co-commentator Frosty introduce himself as well.
Hi, my name is Frosty. I too am a balloon speedrunner here. I've been in the community for about the past 4 or so years. I was one of the original originators of the Chimp speedrun here, and I'm here to help get Deacon through all of this here, though I'm pretty sure he's probably going to do a better job of explaining things than I realistically ever could.
Yeah, but it's still like a wealth of knowledge that you do have, so that'll be very helpful. So, yeah, so this game is this is Bloons Tower Defense 6. It's a very popular tower defense game. It still receives updates every few months. It's owned by Ninja Kiwi. They have a very responsive developer team in like Reddit and in Frosty's Discord.
Absolutely. Look, it's going to be a long run today here. We've got all expert maps here, so we're going to be going through every single one of the most difficult maps in Bloons Tower Defense 6 here. A bit of a showcase more than anything else as well, but there is some genuine skill and difference in strategies that's about to be displayed here today. So really looking forward to exactly what Deacon can show off.
Yep. And so there are 13 maps we're going to go through, starting with Tricky Tracks, which is the newest map in the game. And we're specifically going to be doing Chimps. So Chimps is an acronym for no continues, no health, income, monkey knowledge, powers, or selling. So because of these restrictions, it's the most difficult game mode considered by most people. So we're going to be doing it on all 13 of the hardest maps in the game. So I'm going to just say the timing starts when I click on this Chimps badge. I think Frosty might disagree, but I'm going to go with that. So I'll count down. I'll count down 3, 2, 1, go. So 3, 2, 1, go.
Let's go. Good luck.
Thank you. All right. So
awesome. So
yeah,
if you want to, I'll explain this a little bit here. The start of a lot of these expert maps are quite precise in terms of everything here. We've got a wide swath of towers that we can end up using, but the all-reliable Dart Monkey is going to be our choice here. And these are some really incredibly precise starts as well, mind you. I'm talking like pixel-perfect sort of stuff here. Maybe a little bit of variation in there as well, but for the most part here, it's about trying to line everything up in the exact proper timing here and trying to find the proper timing for your abilities as well.
Yeah, and this setup that... 6... Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Oh, there's like a very particular snipe on round 8 that we need to get as well, which is really annoying with this start that I have. So
absolutely, but it looks like you've got through it all nice and clearly there. Yeah. But in terms of Bloons Tower Defense 6 here, it is technically an auto-scroller here in terms of how to go fast. The way that we end up progressing through the rounds here is simply through clearing all the balloons off. So the major time saves that you're looking for is to pretty much destroy the last balloon that ends up coming through as soon as possible to try to progress the round and try to move fast that way.
Yeah, so it's not really it's auto. I call it auto scroller adjacent. Wait, where's my? Okay, there we go.
There we go. There's the Desperado Tower being placed down. That's one of the newer ones here, which actually allows half of these maps to be speedrun quite consistently here as well. And as I'm sure you're seeing, we're placing down quite a few towers here, but that wizard is going to be the one that you're going to want to keep an eye on, as it's going to be the main damage dealer going through this run here. It's going to get upgraded into an Archmage sooner rather than later, but that's more down the track here. The reason why the wizard is so useful here is it's got those guiding shots in the early game, which is going to allow us to cover all 3 lanes that are going on right now. Tricky Tracks in particular is a quite difficult map in that regard. As you can see, the balloons are zooming in super duper quickly, And if it weren't for the fact that they all line up there in a row, it would be very difficult to try to pop them all, even just normally. For example, just like that. Thankfully, even if we do end up taking a quick little game over here more than anything else, it is still nice that we do have the ability to retry last round, which will allow us to just continue on here more than anything else. So we didn't have that option in the past, mind you. It used to be the case where if you ended up taking a game over in Chimps mode, you'd have to restart from the very beginning. But luckily, thanks to Ninja Kiwi's kindness and a little bit of insight there, we're able to do runs like this here.
And you notice that when we retried rounds, everything just works perfectly, which can happen. The reason why it happens in this case is because I think of the sniper shot timing.
Yeah, the sniper is one of the best towers in the game for speedrunning here, as it's one of the only towers that allows you to hit a balloon instantaneously. You know, we're talking a lot of the towers that you'll end up seeing here today, you know, towers like the dart monkeys, the wizards, they fire off projectiles, but the Desperado and the Sniper are instantaneous damage dealing towers there. So they are able to pop the balloon the first frame that they're able to see them, which is going to be played very useful a little bit later on in this run. But in the meantime here, snipers are not going to be the focus here, as we're seeing that Deacon's going to end up going for a Mer Monkey or two just to be able to help stabilize some of these bottom lanes. The mid-30s in particular for this map are particularly difficult, so just having something like a Riptide champion to be able to try to clear this all up here will be incredibly useful. Thankfully, you ended up getting the ability off there, otherwise I think Etienne would have ended up not being able to help out terribly much here, right?
Yeah, it actually works if you use the ability at the very start, that's...
More you know, right? So, one of the things that I guess we haven't really explained is that Glass is wearing Monkey that's doing all the fancy drone stuff. That is Etienne. Bloons Tower Defense 6 ends up featuring heroes, and heroes are a quintessential part of any strategy that we're going to have going on here, as they are the one monkey that you will invest money in initially, you know, for a cost of about, say, $700 for Etienne here, and will continuously scale as the game goes on. So it's very useful, and Etienne in particular here is one of the best heroes, as he offers a wide swath of abilities. In particular, the ability to see camo balloons on all of your towers, which is a very powerful ability. And not only that, but as you go on later on into the game here, he's going to gain access to abilities like his UCAV, which is essentially a flying plane that's going to go around shooting a whole bunch of damage. But an ability like that is not seen on other heroes, so that's the reason why we're going to end up using him. And when we end up reaching the final part of his levels there, the level 20, he will get access to that plane permanently. So very, very useful damage dealer and utility as well.
And then the other really nice utility about him that pairs well particularly with this wizard is that he gives all towers in his range a range buff. And so because on this map, getting that range buff is very nice for this wizard because the wizard will be able to see pretty much every lane.
Yes, and that is kind of a big deal as well. Unfortunately, it can't really see everything quite yet. I did say that Tricky Tracks was a 3-laned map, but it is technically a 6-laned map. Yeah. As you can see, balloons come from both sides on these tracks, which does end up actually playing a pretty important part here, especially later on. But going into the later game here, Etienne will give that range buff, which will end up helping out the Archmage to be able to see all 6 lanes and clear everything up nicely.
Yeah, so now for our mid game, so we have the arcane, arcane spike, and the thing we're going to supplement it with are these Riptide champions. This is a very new strategy with these Riptide champions because Ninja Kiwi buffed them for no reason, so that they're a lot cheaper than they used to be, and the projectiles have a lot more, I think, pierce, right?
Well, one of the main things about it is that it's just a lot cheaper, and they ended up buffing up the range on them here. So previously, the Mer Monkey has an incredibly short range when you're starting off with it, However, when you end up investing into more EchoSense networks, they end up buffing up the range of every Mermonkey with an EchoSense network. And that used to be 6% every single time, but they ended up buffing it up into 10%. So instead of being able to see all of the map, they would only usually be able to see about a good third or so. Now, on the other hand, they made Riptide Champion a lot cheaper, and they also made it, combined with the EchoSense network, a heck of a lot better, meaning that when you end up spamming them out here, they are incredibly powerful tools for your mid-game.
Yeah, so right now we have 8.
So
we're going to get a 9th here. And then after we get our 9th, we're then going to get another Mermonkey, but a different type of Mermonkey. We're going to be getting the Abyssal Warrior. And so you see it doesn't have a lot of range right now, but then when we give it the EchoSense network, now it sees the entire map. So it's extremely good.
It's just a little strong, you know.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say busted or anything like that. I mean, Bloons is a live service game as well, for those who are wondering, when we're talking about buffs and nerfs and all that sort of business here. And it is very frequently that Ninja Kiwi will end up making changes. So one of the aspects of speedrunning this game is the ability to be a little bit flexible in terms of trying to find new strategies to speedrun with, because something that may have worked in the past will probably not work in the future there. So while we may be able to use this strategy today, if Ninja Kiwi turned around tomorrow and said, "Nah, we don't like this," then we're going to have to come up with something completely different instead.
Yeah, it's the bane of our existence when making guides as well.
I suppose it's a bane, but it can also be seen as a little bit of fun here or there, I suppose. Depends on how you view things.
Always new content to be made.
There we go, that's the spirit. I like your attitude. Now, in the meantime here, I assume that at this point here we're going to be using this time to try to save up for our Archmage. So, typically one of the things that'll end up happening in a lot of these Chimps guys is that rather than just spending our money on trying to go for a lot of these smaller upgrades, even though we did end up doing that with the Riptide Champions here, we do need to try to hit some bigger power spikes later on into the game, simply so that we can stay with the difficulty of the game, as Bloons does end up, funnily enough, getting more difficult as the rounds goes on. It wouldn't be much of a game if it didn't. So we have to end up saving up quite a large swath of money here, and this is going to be where some of the challenge lies, in trying to find that save up into the Archmage.
Yep, and we're going to kind of make do with our abilities. Like here, I'm going to use our UCAV for these BFBs. And then we'll afford Archmage in the middle of round 79. In the meantime, there are like
really
some
good timing.
Yeah, there are some difficult rounds before then. So round 75 in particular can be pretty difficult. Round 78 is usually a pretty big difficulty spike as well. So I guess we haven't like explained the types of balloons. So there's a lot
going on, and there's not a lot of time to explain it, unfortunately. But you'll get used to it here. We'll have plenty of time to explain it as we go on.
All the rounds for every map are the same. The balloons that spawn are all the same. So, but basically,
the map layouts here.
Yeah, the map layout is different.
That are going to end up.
Yeah, the layout's different, but the rounds themselves are the same. So. But you can see, so there's a mix of like normal balloons that you'd expect and blimps. So a lot of rounds have just kind of a moderate mix of both. But round 78 is kind of different because it has these two really dense ceramic rushes. A lot of defenses can get pierce cap because of it. But we have this Mermonkey here is actually really good at handling that kind of round, so...
So balloons are our towers here. Our monkeys end up having a set amount of balloons that they can end up popping here with their projectiles. So this round is notorious for being one of the big roadblocks on a lot of these runs. Now I don't know if we've really got any maps that end up really punishing this here. I mean, we are pretty good at trying to figure out exactly how to beat this round at this point, but
yeah, it
is still very notorious.
I think Chimps is not too bad. What is generally bad is something like half cash. Half cash, you often do have to either choose a hero that does a good job with 78, or you have to find some towers that work with it.
Absolutely. At this point here, we've ended up affording our Archmage here, so the Archmage is going to do a pretty good job at trying to clear off all these blimps. It's got a lot of good Moab damage, so the blimps are called Moab class balloons here. The ones that you're seeing right now, the red ones, are BFBs. If they've got red or brown bands around them, they're fortified, which means they have double health. And one of the other big things that end up happening here is that when you pop them, they end up spawning ceramics, which have got about... They're pretty tanky balloons, you know, they take a little bit to pop down there. On round 60, or round 81, they end up turning into super ceramics. So, ceramics usually end up splitting into multiple balloons there. Again, they are quite notorious for being very hard to deal with. But now they're hard to deal with for another reason, which is the fact that they're incredibly tanky. Because they gain 6 times the amount of health, but they don't end up splitting into as many balloons.
Yeah, the other thing is also after round 80, the Moabs also start scaling up in strength.
Yes, they end up getting just a little bit of extra health every single round there, and I don't... Do they get an extra speed before round 100?
I think they do, yeah. I was having issues actually because I was using first strikes, and the first strikes weren't insta-killing some of the ZOMGs.
Yes.
I think. Anyway, so we got one tier 5, which is the Archmage. Now we're getting a second one. You're gonna want at least one tier 5 when you're doing Chimps. Some of these maps will get 2, and some of these maps will get 3. This map in particular will get 2. The Super Brittle is extremely strong. It got a very nice buff recently. It made it extremely good. And particularly for this map. So the big problem with this map is actually this middle lane. Because the middle lane is a little bit longer than the other two lanes, or the other four lanes. So what that means is we have a lot of our towers targeting first, which means that it tries to shoot whatever is farthest down the map. And because of that, things tend to not target this middle lane at all. So having something like the Super Brittle, which will kind of always hit the middle lane, is very nice. So
yeah, so the Super Brittle, what that does is it's an area debuff sort of tower there, and it makes the balloons end up taking extra damage. But there's also metal types of balloons. So for example, those super fast black ones that you're seeing, those are called DDTs. And those are also particularly notorious for being run-enders here, but we don't see them too often. And those are camo balloons, so you need a specific type of tower to clear them, and lead balloons as well, and also technically black balloons. And so being able to have the Super Brittle de-camo those and de-lead them as well is incredibly useful. So they end up taking extra damage, so they'll just melt if we can ever get a hold of them. But here's the thing, on a speedy map like this one here, we still need a bit of extra time to hold them in position. So Deacons ended up getting a main Moab, which ends up stunning the balloons there when they hit them. And this is the BAD, this is the final boss here. This has got all the extra damage, the biggest health on it there, and it's gone. That's the first map done.
okay,
so we're gonna go straight on to Glacial Trail now.
Yeah, so this is a very easy single lane map, right? Like, no gimmicks at all. It's just, I don't know why it's an expert map.
Yeah, I mean, you know, my name's Frosty and everything, but I mean, this just looks right at home if you ask me.
Yeah. And yeah, no, yeah, you're right. It's the closest to the exit is what first targeting does. If you're looking at chat, yeah. So, yeah, no, it's chilling. So we're using Sada. Sada is incredibly good on these single lane maps. She has a very fast attack speed, and you're often able to just place her down at the start, and she'll handle it. It's very, very nice on beginner maps in particular, and this map. So,
is because there's definitely no gimmicks that would end up making a single lane map like this. Most expert maps usually have some sort of gimmick behind them, multiple lanes which make targeting difficult, like the map that we ended up seeing before. But this map in particular, I mean, should we tell them? I think we should tell them rather than leaving it to a surprise.
There's nothing.
So this map, yeah, I mean, look, this map features a gimmick here where every 10 rounds after a tower has been placed, it will be frozen for 2 rounds. So this one is less about execution, and this one is more about trying to make sure that you time all of your towers perfectly. Because if you end up mistiming one of your towers, it's going to get frozen on a critical round, and you'll end up having to restart. So for example here, we see Sorta ended up getting frozen on round 15 and round 16, but she'll throw it on round 17, which is why we ended up placing down our dart a round later. We had the money on round 7 to place it down, but if we end up placing it down on round 7 there, it's going to be frozen at the same time that Sorta is. So we need to make sure that we appropriately time everything here to make sure that everything comes down at the right time.
Yeah, and like here I can afford to place down a Spike Factory, but I actually want to place it down on round 22. For similar reasons.
Absolutely. And this Spike Factory is an interesting addition here. It really does kind of go off to show here where even though the main idea behind some of these Chimps clears is like we want to try to deal as much damage as possible, sometimes, even though we want to, we still have to prioritize a little bit of proper defensive towers as well so that we can actually stay alive. And this factory plays into it here quite a bit, as later on in the game we're going to have some camo balloons that will come through, and that'll pose a bit of a threat to us as a few of our towers will be down at the time and we'll need the extra help.
Yep. And we got this nice tower, which is the Druid of the Jungle, which a lot of Chimps players say is bad, but it's really good in speedruns at least. Because what it does is it creates this vine that can show up anywhere on the map, and in particular it can show up at the very front of the track, which for speedruns is like golden. That's exactly what we want.
We do love golden towers here, and the biggest thing about that vine as well is it doesn't rely on line of sight, does it?
Yeah.
So even though our druid is all the way in the back here, and there's this big wall of ice in between which stops it from viewing anything up in front, it'll still just sense the balloons are there and grab a hold of it. And another nice thing about this vine is that it's got 2 properties. Number one is it's kind of like a barrier on the track here, which means that any balloons that end up hit it continuously get popped. But it also grabs a balloon and crushes it over time, so it's an instant kill all the way up to a ceramic balloon. It doesn't grab those large ones, but it will grab the smallest balloons possible and squeeze them. So in that regard here, very useful for speedruns of all type here, as I believe some of the easy and medium modes end up using it just to try to clear off mobs and BFBs as fast as possible by just spamming it out and grabbing every single inside.
Druids do not cast vines while frozen. So one other thing is, so we got this bomb shooter, the Moab Assassin. The main reason for getting it is in the on round 40, there's this Moab that comes, and we can use this ability in order to what we call layer skip it. So we're able to pop it instantly without spawning any of the insides, which is really good for going quickly. So
yes, again, that was a nice little change that they ended up making a few patches ago at this point here. It never used to be the case that it would end up skipping those insides. You'd have to have 4 Druids of the Jungle combined with your Moab Assassin to get the job done. So the fact that you're able to do that now is a very, very, very big change for us here, and allows us to go even faster. It's funny as well because a lot of the main towers that we ended up using in the past for speedrunning have gotten nerfed over time, but some of the buffs that they've ended up providing us with have kind of offset that and made us go even faster, so much so that even theoretically, though we've had our towers nerfed, we've still managed to bring the overall time down for Chimps so far from what it used to be.
yeah. And so another tower we got is this ice monkey. So there is one exception to this freezing every 9 and 10 round rule, which is ice monkeys, which is very nice. There's actually a new hero that we could use on this map, but we're not, which is an ice-based hero, which also doesn't freeze, called Silas. I'm not super good at using him either, but
yeah, he's a bit hit or miss sometimes, unfortunately. There, he's got an ability. His level 7 ability is the one which ends up creating ice shards around, which is the main Moab popper, and it does require some quite precise timing. Unfortunately, the nature of ice monkeys mean that without Silas, they are typically used as stalling towers here, and even with Silas, they can end up inadvertently stalling out your rounds, and due to that reason, we typically say that's a big no-no. We want to try to destroy balloons as fast as possible, not keep them frozen.
So then another tower that we got in the front here is this Ultra Juggernaut. So one thing about this map that's generally pretty annoying is that there are these line of sight blockers, but the Juggernaut and Ultra Juggernaut are very special towers that have these projectiles that bounce off of line of sight blockers or barriers. So particularly on this map, the Ultra Juggernaut's actually very strong, and it's also very cheap. So this is the kind of tower that punches well above its weight on this map, this type of map with walls.
Absolutely, and it's not every map as well, because if without the walls here, even though I believe the Juggernaut has a bug with it at the moment where if there are no walls, the projectile would usually just fly on through. It's not quite the case here in terms of the Juggernaut, where the balls will still bounce off. But even if this was a wide open map here, we still typically wouldn't go for it, as we do kind of rely on these close spaces here to maximize the damage from it. So this will be the only time where we will be seeing the Ultra Juggernaut here, even though it is a good cheap tower.
Yeah. And then
round 63 coming up here.
Yeah, 63 has 3 ceramic rushes. It's usually a problem, except the Ultra Juggernaut turns it into nothing. One thing I really like about this strategy, so Frosty came up with this strategy. It's really creative, which is putting this engineer up front. So what this engineer is, right now we have the sentry expert. What that does is that creates these sentries. Generally, the engineer puts sentries kind of close to the track, but in random spots. But because of this position, there's really only one spot where it can put sentries, so it ends up putting all of the sentries just in the very front, which is great for speedrunning, for making things go very quickly. So this was a very, very neat way of using it.
Even still, I would say that the sentry expert or the sentry champion here is a good speedrunning tower on maps where you can kind of keep it close to the track. If you end up going back, so a bit of history here, it was actually a part of the original Black Border strategy before we had chimp speedruns. Chimp speedruns weren't always a part of the Bloons leaderboard there. Before that, there were just Black Border speedruns and the 4 basic modes, which are easy, medium, hard, and impossible. Since Chimps was added, I ended up copying some of the original Black Border strategies that ended up going in there. I mean, I'm not going to try to claim that I didn't end up taking inspiration from them at some point. And this was one of the things that they ended up using. I believe they ended up using Prince of Darkness, Tax Zone, Sentry Champion, and Call to Arms as the main speedrunning tools. So even after all this time, it's still useful.
Yep. And yeah, we're going to get our first tier 5, which is going to be the Super Brittle, which we've seen before and explained. But to kind of recap, it has the embrittlement, and the Super Brittle debuffs these blimps, and also does quite a bit of damage to them. So, and you're going to kind of see, especially on round 75, which is usually kind of a hard round, the Super Brittle is going to absolutely shred it.
so one of the big buffs that ended up happening to the Super Brittle here is that it ends up attacking faster and also doing a lot more mob damage with its shards as well now. So even though it used to be a really good supporting tower, Ninja Kiwi ended up buffing it up, so it's also a really good offensive tower now as well. One of the big things is that a lot of dense waves used to be somewhat problematic for a lot of strategies for us, simply because we end up focusing so heavily on certain types of balloons, or towers, my apologies, certain types of towers. So for example, in this sort of game here, we typically go for towers that are really good at a specific thing, you know? So for example, the Super Brittle here is really good at dealing with large waves of balloons. And we end up focusing as well on things that end up doing really good single target damage as well. So a tower like this here was good at helping out clearing out those big balloons before, but now it's really good at helping out clear out those big balloons and those large waves now too. So we have kind of a jack of all trades that's really good at everything for us in a speedrun. The Super Brittle buff was a big deal. Now, round 80 is coming in here. We're about to start seeing if Deacon's going to go for the new tower here. We ended up seeing the Riptide Champion before, but we didn't end up going for the tier 4 ability, which is the Arctic Knight. And we're really going to play into this bouncing ball strategy that we've got going on here with the Juggernauts and everything. The Arctic Knight has an ability which ends up spewing out a whole bunch of ice balls, which is a large bit of burst for us here, especially on a map like this. So we're going to use this ability here to try to save up into the Sentry Champion. And one of the reasons why this strategy ends up working so well for this sort of map as well, just to try to piggyback off of what you were saying earlier, is that the Super Brittle ends up adding +4 damage onto every balloon that ends up getting hit by it there. So any one of your towers that ends up doing damage to it takes 4 extra damage. The Sentry Champion ends up doing 1 damage on all of its sentries very, very, very rapidly. So you're doing 5 times as much damage, or 4 times as much. I can't math about this late. It's very late in the evening for me.
Yeah. Alright, Sentry Champion obtained.
We've got to wait for all the sentries to end up stacking up a little bit here, so we're going to end up using the Arctic Knight to try to clear everything out. And now we're going to just try to focus on support, as we've got our main focus here to just try to clear everything off nice and easily.
And I guess one tower we haven't mentioned is this mortar. So right now we have the Signal Flare, which is nice because it decamos and it also sets balloons on fire, which when paired with Sada is very powerful. Sada does extra damage to towers that are taking a damage over time effect, that have a damage over time effect applied to them. So that's a really good synergy that you can do.
Absolutely. And it's really good as well because that's not the only reason that we've got it here. It's tier 4 has got the ability to defortify a lot of the weaker blimps that are going on. So all the Moabs and BFBs that have got double health on them can be upgraded into a Shattering Shells, which I believe we will end up showing a little bit later on in the run here.
Yeah, I actually get the first strike first and then the Shattering Shells, but
I like it.
Just for round 97.
Yep, absolutely good choice there. Yeah, round 95 in particular used to be a bit of a problematic one here before the Super Brittle buff, but now that we got it here, we're all good. Got the ice balls ready. So what we're going to do here is we are going to first strike the last blimp there after everything ends up getting broken down, just simply so that we can end up clearing everything up nicely. That's why Long Life Spikes is in the back there and is goaded as well, just in case some small little leaks end up happening there. It definitely can happen to anyone, and we're going to finish this off quickly. Ideally, the first strike ends up layer skipping through everything that we end up going there. So usually the BAD would end up spawning I believe it's 3 DDTs and 2 ZOMGs, which then go into BFBs and Moabs and all that fun business. A first strike deals 10,000 damage all at once, so we would end up skipping all of that if we time it properly. So there's a little bit of skill expression there as well.
Which we did do, by the way, so...
Yes, we got it there if it wasn't clear enough.
Alright, so this is Dark Dungeons. You can see that there's actually 4 lanes on this map, but up until round 49, we only have to worry about 3 of them. I say only have to worry about 3 of them as if that's not a huge issue. But...
So this one in particular is a pretty tight early game here in terms of placements and everything. These sorts of maps end up being balanced out by the fact that these rounds aren't as dense as the ones that you'd usually be facing, but there are a few little gimmicks on the map that will end up helping us be a little bit safe, especially on some of these tougher rounds here. You see some of these torches lying around in the middle. Those will activate traps on the side here. You can even click on the traps as well to activate them, but we're going to save those for special situations.
I need those. I don't want to use them on the showcase because I need them.
We'll show them off eventually. Don't you worry about that. I will highlight one little thing that you'll see Deeka doing here with this boomerang. Turns out a lot of the towers in this game share hitboxes with each other. So for example, this boomerang shares a hitbox with Sorta of the size. That's it, the size. So you'll see us trying to hover over specific areas there so we can try to get our heroes down the frame that they become available. As heroes gain experience as soon as you end up clearing a round. So even if you've got 1 balloon left in the round there and you manage to put down your hero will still get experience for clearing off that round, which becomes more and more as the game goes on.
And you saw me use the traps there. There's like the pinks will leak otherwise.
I suppose we can talk about some of the early game balloons here as well. So, as I'm sure you've noticed, we've got different colors of balloons. Red means that it ends up taking 1 hit, blue means it takes 2, green is 3, yellow is 4, and pink is 5 hits. So those are your basic balloon types there. But the really important thing to note about them is that they share different speeds. So in particular, pink, with 5 hits being on them there, takes really short amount of time to get to your exit. So they are perhaps some of the most deadly balloons that you'll end up encountering in the early game here as you see them just zooming straight for that exit. There we go, got the good timing there. Sorta's got to play a little bit of defense here over on this right side and is going to take some Leaping Sword timings here. As you'll see, Leaping Sword is Sorta's level 3 ability. Arguably one of the best level 3s in the entire game for speedrunning, as it's an immediate burst of damage anywhere on the map. So it shares multiple uses for, shoring up particular rounds here.
Yeah,
but also in clearing up Moabs.
Yeah, so there's this misconception actually that Sada is not good on multi-lane maps because of her limited range, but that's kind of an incomplete picture because first off, her Leaping Sword has global range. Both of her abilities have global range, and not a lot of heroes have abilities that have global range, so she kind of makes up for it with that. And likewise, you can see this is like this map has a ton of lanes, and we're using Sada here. The reason why is because Sada is going to lock down this lane extremely well as we focus on kind of the rest of the lanes. So Sada's actually pretty good on multi-lane maps, like a lot better than a lot of people think.
Yeah, so that's why you're seeing Deacon end up purchase a whole bunch of upgrades here in the middle and left lanes, just to try to lock everything down and try to keep everything safe. 36 again rears its ugly head once more, and it's a good thing that you end up grabbing up those traps there just to make sure on that early round
it's not,
there that
not always necessary, but it sometimes is to do that.
I suppose that's one thing that we can talk about here is randomness in balloons. There's not terribly much randomness when it comes to balloons tower defense 6 here and everything. You'll hear people complaining about the fact that, sometimes it just feels random. The only thing that's really random is, for example, our Alchemist in the middle lane there with its acidic dip mixture. God, that's a mouthful to say. So even though it may look like we pop balloons at random times here, it's actually quite calculated, so we know when that leaping sword timing needs to happen there.
Much harder than you think, by the way. Also, that's why I didn't upgrade this to spiked balls, because the leaping sword timing gets tighter because of the spike balls just does a little bit too much damage, which is kind of funny.
Oh, it always looks so close here. But the traps end up coming in clutch as always.
Yeah, the traps, and what I do is I also do a trick where I set Sada to close, so that we make sure that she targets the correct lane.
Yeah, so Sada is, funnily enough, actually somewhat of a micro-intensive hero in that regard there, where it is important on maps like this to have the appropriate targeting for your leaping sword. There is nothing more tilting than watching Sorta go in the complete opposite direction that you need it to go, especially on maps like Workshop. God knows what they were thinking with that map. So you will see Deacon kind of just dancing around with the targeting here in particular, just trying to make sure that he's hitting the appropriate lanes at the appropriate time. Another aspect of this map here, as I mentioned a little bit earlier, is playing defense. Because this early game is a little bit brutal, we do end up focusing on towers that do end up trying to play a little bit more defense than they would otherwise do. So we see 3 juggernauts, these catapult monkeys here, and their primary job is to try to clear up these swaths of balloons that end up getting produced. There's a minor knockback that it ends up producing there, combined with its bottom path. So you're going to see those on all 3 of these lanes, and the idea is we just want to try to stay as safe as possible, and then we can worry about clearing up everything as well. That was a really sick leaping sword timing as well. You got the ceramics straight away as soon as you ended up popping it.
It's very tight, because if you mistime it, then what happens, you don't die, but this juggernaut knocks the ceramics back and you lose like 5 seconds. Something that... One of the frustrations about running this map, or at least this strategy, I've kind of wanted to route out this juggernaut for that reason, because of how much it knocks things back, but it just makes things too easy. So like right here, that's a very common source of slowness here.
Yeah, unfortunately, even though we've been able to route out a lot of these strategies, and we have spent quite a bit of time trying to optimize them, a lot of these maps are, how shall we say, everything that we do here kind of plays a part and goes on into the later game. So every single tower that we end up placing, ideally we want to try to have that be somewhat relevant later on. The only exception to this is, I'd argue, is some of these Darn Monkeys that we've placed down, the ones that aren't the Juggernauts, as those are definitely only going to be used in the early game. Sorry, Darn Monkey enjoyers. So Deacon, what's going to be the primary tier 5 that we're going to be seeing on this map here?
Yeah, we're only going to use one tier 5, which is the super brittle again. Surprise, surprise.
Are we getting the impression that the super brittle is a good tower yet?
I think this might be the last map where we use it. I forget.
Don't give him that. I think I can remember one more off the top of my head here, but I won't ruin the surprise. We'll leave them on the edge of their seats.
Yeah, so I'm putting this ice monkey here, as you might be able to guess, this will become our super brittle.
So I guess one thing to emphasize here as well is that the reason why Deacon is now only going to start focusing on the middle and upper lanes is because those are the only 2 lanes that can end up spawning Moabs. So you'll see it in particular on round 64, which is only Moabs. They'll only come from the middle and upper lanes here as well. So trying to make sure that we've got enough balloon defense on these side lanes at the same time as these top lanes is kind of the push-pull of this map. And what we're going to do is, rather than try to immediately go for this tier 5 here, you'll see Deacon end up buying up a few towers here, which again, they'll play their part later on in the game.
Actually, we're going to get the tier 5 very late. We're going to get it in the 90s. Where I am. One thing is that, though, on the top left, we are going to upgrade that spike factory to spiked mines. That just makes things easier. It keeps things... I know that you did your run yesterday, right? And I know I saw you didn't get that, which it's not... A lot of strategies don't need it, but...
I was gonna say we'll just call it a marathon safe strat here, as I think that my run was theoretically faster, but the problem is that there are some inconsistencies with it that I do need to rat out there.
I think however, without spiked mines,
in the meantime, it still works.
Yeah, for me, I think without spiked mines, I think 75 and 79 are pretty miserable on this left lane.
Do you end up getting spike mines before then? Is that your next purchase?
Yeah, spiked mines is my next purchase. And then after spiked mines, we mentioned Arctic Knights before, and how good they are on maps that have
on this map.
How good they are on maps with walls. And oh boy, does this map have walls!
You mean the totally enclosed space here is going to be a prime breeding ground for a whole bunch of Arctic Knights? Say it ain't so.
Yeah, and you can kind of tell how good it is because of the Juggernauts are also good with walls, and you can see how those spike balls keep just bouncing everywhere.
I guess one of the big things to note here as well is that we did end up purchasing an Ultra Juggernaut in the last map here. Unfortunately, it is still pretty good on this map, as it's good to try to lock down a lane. But the main problem is that it doesn't really clear up big balloons very well without some extra help. So investing, it costs around $16,000 to try to purchase up. It's typically better just to get double Arctic Knight, which ends up doing its job just a little bit better and faster.
Quite a lot better, actually, but... Yeah, we're actually going to get 4 Arctic Knights.
I don't want to hurt its feelings too much.
Yeah. No, the Arctic Knight, the Ultra Juggernaut it's very good. There's a monkey knowledge that makes the Ultra Juggernaut much better. But without that monkey knowledge, it's not great going past round 80.
Oh, that reminds me, we haven't explained even what Chimps is yet, have we? So
I went through the acronym, but...
Did you do the acronym?
I did do the acronym, but we can go over it again. A lot of people join in later, and they don't have necessarily the context.
So I guess I'll give this one then, if that's the case. So yeah. Chimps is no continue. So the big difference here is we have a retry last round, which is technically not a continue. So continues in this game end up offering extra money as well, so that you don't end up repeating it over and over again.
Gotta interrupt. Check out round 80. Watch this.
So this would usually be a pretty slow round here, except for the fact that we have a whole bunch of balls bouncing around.
Yeah. So cool.
So yeah, so there are no continues, so we don't get extra money when we end up retrying last round there or anything of the sort. We got to figure out our problems here. There are no extra hearts, so we start off with 1 life. That's the only life that you get if you make a single mistake. That's it. No extra income can be generated here from towers. So a tower like a banana farm here, which would be very powerful for us, and I mean, I'd love to have banana farms here. We don't get access to it. No monkey knowledge, so no extra little boosts that would usually come from some of the extra stuff from playing the game there, through monkey knowledge. No powers, so one-time use sort of things there, like a super monkey storm to try to clear up the map, can't use those. And no selling, which is arguably one of the bigger ones here as well, as it means that you are committed to whichever towers that you end up placing down.
Yeah, and even like being able to sell towers for $0 would be really nice, because sometimes they just take up space. that you want to clear up, but you can't.
A prime example of that would be some of these Dar monkeys that have ended up being placed down in the early game here. Even though we end up making use of them at the start more than anything else, later on in the game, especially on some maps that really don't have a lot of placements, they will end up taking up some valuable real estate, so much so that we tend to try to look for other towers that do its job a little bit better.
There is one hero that does let you delete towers, which is Adora, which is actually really nice, but we're not going to use her in this run.
Unfortunately, Adora is just a little bit slow. Adora is really good for the early game, I find, because Adora is good at clearing off some of the balloons with her abilities. However, when it comes to Moab damage, it's just a little bit lackluster, especially on round 40, which is kind of the big thing that ends up preventing him from being good. DDTs on this map, though, are kind of a big deal for us, aren't they?
Yeah. Also, round 91, I died on it earlier today, so that's why I upgraded this Spike Factory. Otherwise, we would get Super Brittle, like, right now.
Yeah.
Actually, we will get it right now, but...
There we go, Bonza. It's one of the beautiful things about running balloons here is that we mentioned the randomness part about it before and that it doesn't exist. But because of slight variations in tower placement here, there will often be times where you will end up just having a completely different outcome and come out of things going, well, I held this before, why did I die now? It's one of the beautiful parts about running this game.
Oh, the reason why I had money is because I forgot to get this wizard. Or not wizard, this engineer to decamo, but...
Potato, right? I mean, look, the Engie's a bit of a wizard in the fact that it makes the balloons just disappear out of nowhere for some of the monkeys, if you think about it. Another key aspect here that I guess we didn't really touch on is the fact that Deacons ended up grabbing some glue up in the top right there. Glue is a purely defensive tower. It ends up slowing down the balloons. And the 4th tier upgrade that he's ended up grabbing on it here is Relentless Glue, which ends up stunning the balloons temporarily as well. Which may not seem like a big dealio, but it ends up helping with DDT rounds really nicely. And I think... Ooh, did you end up overusing the balls here?
Yeah, it's okay.
Good catch though. Because we've got 3 more at our disposal here, so... As we'll see, because of these spike balls bouncing around, they're really good at dealing with high density rounds. And just like that, the highest density round in the run here is gone. And Spike Mines in the back ends up clearing everything up. Big bad BAD here. And the balls just destroy it, just like that. You beaut.
Everyone's favorite speedrunning thing, the collection event.
There we go. So, I did mention the fact that this game is live service before. One of the aspects is that Ninja Kiwi is nice sometimes and gives away free powers there by the name of Insta Monkeys. Unfortunately, that is just pure time loss for us as speedrunners here. So, unlucky that the Long-a-Thon here was being run at this time, but it can't be helped, I suppose.
More often than not, there's a collection event, so, you know. Not much you can do.
Just gotta learn how to menu faster, right?
I think you can also disconnect from the internet, but, you know, we kind of need the internet, I guess. This, I think you can disconnect I heard you can disconnect the game from the internet, but I don't know how that works.
You might be able to disconnect it through Steam there or something like that, but if I'm being honest, I guess it doesn't really matter, as typically a lot of balloon speedruns end up focusing on just purely single level more than anything else, rather than trying to go for multi-map sort of stuff like this.
Yeah, I also just want to emphasize this category is not real.
We made it up.
We made it up because it's like a fun idea. The issue is that like Ninja Kiwi adds maps, so like what an expert map is change it, or like how many expert maps changes, the run changes, things evolve. So Actually, this category would be more stable than like other categories could be, but they only recently added another expert map, but they did add an expert map, which is annoying, so...
Just to try to mess with us, you know, just as we had some consistency there and everything, they decided to just throw a wrench into our plans here, hey?
And not only that, because at GDQ we submitted the all true experts, and then they added a map that we kind of might consider a true expert, so...
That's right. I mean, we even just saw that at the start of the run there, which it's in a bit of contention whether Tricky Tracks is a true expert map there, but in the meantime here, we're just going to play it out here, wait for the community to come to a consensus on whether we add it or not. So here in this run here, we're going to be starting off. We ended up doing a different start to the old triple dart start here. As we can see that there are 2 Desperados here, which is a new tower that NGQB ended up adding, which adds a lot of variety into the starts that we end up having here. A lot of true experts and experts before were primarily done by just placing 3 dart monkeys down in very precise spots. The Desperado has a nice large range here and a double shot, which is perfect for clearing up some of those early rounds.
The dart start here was like one of the worst in the game.
Very
there's
precise
also
for both rounds.
There was also a
7 there.
There was also a Quincy start, which I never understood, and then there's also a dart sniper start, which I also never understood. This Desperado one's just so much easier, though.
Yeah, that one is a lot of very precise dart swaps there, where you'd end up, or not dart swaps, sniper swaps, where you'd end up having to count the amount of shots that you ended up doing, which, I'm going to be honest, when you're in the middle of a speedrun and you're trying to place down towers and you're trying to micro everything at the same time is a little bit overwhelming there.
Yeah.
So, there has to be some ease of use at some point here. It's think of it like it's a miniature test strat, I suppose.
Yeah, but well, no, I think Doubloon actually did it in his Sanctuary Black Border run, which is crazy.
Oh, well, it's putting us all to shame, then we gotta up our game if that's
yeah, but this Desperado one makes this... So this map actually used to be pretty hard, but they made some changes that now I think this map is one of the easiest expert maps. Particularly with this Desperado start, and then there's also a thing that Frosty found with the Spike Factory, which we're not going to use here, but it's...
Womp womp.
I would, but you came up with a better strategy, so it's your fault.
I'm sorry. I can't be helped. I'm always trying to innovate, what can I say? We will kind of touch on the hero choice here. We've ended up seeing Sorta quite a bit over these past few rounds here. One of the big deal areas that we end up doing is we switch to Striker Jones here, which I guess is a little bit of an interesting choice, Deacon, because a lot of people would typically see Striker as a defensive hero with his ability to stun balloons and everything, but there's a very specific reason that is here, isn't he?
Yeah, because we're using bomb shooters, and Striker just makes bomb shooters so much better. For a couple reasons. One is that he just makes them do more damage, he lets them pop black balloons. The other thing is when he gets to level 10, he has this ability... He has this ability that lets you reset cooldowns as well, which is very good because we're going to be getting the Moab Assassin and being able to reset that cooldown is very nice. And then also Bomb Blitz has a passive ability where if a balloon leaks, then it creates all of these explosions. It doesn't let you don't lose lives if it's like a single balloon leaks, and not only that, it causes explosions everywhere. So if you manage to do that and you have Striker, you can actually reset that cooldown as well. I think the cooldown for that is...
It was around 75 seconds before, but I believe they recently ended up nerfing it to 90 seconds, so...
I think it was actually 60. I think it was 60 and 75.
Yeah, that might be the case.
Something like that.
I'd have to go and double check really quickly here. Unfortunately, due to the fact that Bomb Blitz is kind of just really good as an attacking tower now, we will more than likely not be able to see that. Even though I think that if you can get a active Bomb Blitz ability, it is one of the fastest speedrunning tools, as it does end up doing a ridiculous amount of damage. Every single balloon below a fortified BFB ends up getting one-tapped by it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not gonna do a strategy that like easily makes use of it because the defense is too good. But I did get a gold with this strategy, so I'm gonna stick with it.
Well, see, it's a bit of push-pull, right? It's like, we
Yeah.
want to go fast, so we want towers that are able to pop balloons fast, but we can't just magically turn off the towers from being able to attack here and just say, no, balloons, come on through, please. So, if there's a strategy that kind of skirts that line really nicely, it would have to be found here. I do think it exists.
Yeah.
It's probably going to be pretty good, but in the
I was
meantime
thinking
here,
of actually doing your Carpet of Spikes version just because it's so easy to have the round 98 active ability or passive ability happen, but I don't know, this I kind of want to do this.
too good, right?
Yeah, having 2 first strikes is too good, so
It's a very good speedrunning tool, first strike there with the 10,000 damage ability, but one of the towers that we haven't really mentioned is its upgrade, which is preemptive, which ends up doing a small amount of damage, or I'd say about a medium-sized amount of damage, as it one-taps DDTs as they come in, to every Moab class balloon as well. And it also upgrades its ballistic missile ability, or its first strike ability, to do 20,000 damage, I believe now.
and then
It's even easier to skip through.
Yeah, so the precursor to Bomb Blitz is the recursive cluster, which is actually like one of my favorite towers in the game. The reason why is because I really like doing half cash, and it's a very good half cash tower. It has good
also
Pierce.
really good here as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it's good here. This whole opener is. I think the reason why Striker and the Bomb Blitz is the speedrunning meta is just because I did this and then you kind of adjusted it, right? To use the Bomb Blitz ability.
So the reason why it is meta right about now is that there is not a lot of placement opportunities on this map. You know, we've got a whole bunch of rotating towers here that'll go back and forth in between rounds. So a lot of strategies revolve around trying to clump up a lot of good defenses, right? You'll see a lot of beginner players end up spreading out their defenses, and typically you'll want to try to focus it on one area and work it from there. On this map, it's very hard to do that. So a lot of synergies that you'd have by combining towers together are just not available. So you kind of want a tower that's reliable and upfront. And it turns out Bomb Blitz, even for whatever reason, if it were to end up leaking, has this emergency button. We have 2 emergency buttons with it here. So it's really good in that regard, and one of the reasons why I haven't tried to look for anything different quite yet. So you're going to go for the preemptive strike now, if that's correct?
Yep.
No other towers to go for? Or?
No other towers to go for. The Bomb Blitz just does an extremely good job up until like round 82 or something. And actually I remember because the reason why I even did this is because one of my favorite strategies is to get the bomb axis, which is you get all 3 tier 5 bomb shooters. So this is kind of why I started with this, with the Bomb Blitz and everything here. And I was finding actually round 82 was a bit sketchy even with that. So we might leak on round 82 and see the ability, but we'll see.
Yeah, I think so. One of the other strategies, a variation to this one, we'll call it, makes use of a tower called the Carpet of Spikes, which has a map-wide ability to cover it all in anti-Moab spikes.
Yeah, we'll see that in.
So
we'll see
trying
that
to leak
in
with
2
that
maps.
one. Yeah, trying to leak with that one is a lot more difficult than a first strike, which is a primarily ability-based tower. So definitely possible here. Round 75 as well is typically seen as a bit of a troublesome one for this map. But as you see, Bomb Blitz is just cracked and or jacked.
Bomb Blitz is with Striker is very, very good. It's actually very noticeable how much worse the Bomb Blitz is without Striker.
And even though you say that, though, I believe, are you using Sorter on Workshop, or are you using Striker?
Oh, I'm going to use Striker. I'm going to go with my very safe strategy that I've been practicing.
We're not using the word safe here, we're using marathon strategy, remember? We agreed.
Exactly. No, I have bad experience with that sawdust strategy, so...
Yeah, no, I mean, look, I was going to say, even though Bomb Blitz is quite a bit worse without it there, it is still viable if you don't end up going for Striker, which is really just goes to show you just how good the tower is. Unfortunately, one of its weaknesses is that it has decent range, but it doesn't have amazing range. So, you see in a map like Tricky Tracks there, unfortunately you'll end up leaking more often than not, and even though the fact that you've got the Bomb Blitz ability there to try to clear everything up, it's just not enough to keep everything safe more often than not, so we can't use it all the time.
I guess we're not going to leak on round 82 because we're going to get preemptive by then. I could try not getting preemptive and seeing if we leak on round 82.
It's probably just faster to go for the preemptive, is it not?
Yeah, but just for...
why not? Just for the marathon.
Oh no, we're not.
Oh, it's a little close.
There we go.
Oh, there's one. There we go. Alright, great. We got to show it off there.
Got to show it off, yeah. Did not save any time. In fact, it probably lost a lot of time, but...
No, once for the fans, it's important, you know?
But, yeah, for science. Now, for whatever reason... I'm copying this strategy from the world record, which gets Balloon Solver here. I don't know why we get Balloon Solver here, because it kind of does the same thing as Bomb Blitz.
So, I have a theory behind that.
Yeah.
The theory would be that even though Bomb Blitz is just a general good all-round tower, the fact that the Super Ceramics end up having so much health, and they can be fortified as well, means that it is somewhat unreliable at dealing with all the ceramics that end up coming out. So Balloon Solver is just a catch-all against that sort of stuff. And there we kind of saw that the preemptive ended up doing its job there, absolutely deleting these waves. And you'll see Deacon essentially spam out this preemptive strike ability on the last large balloon of every single round. The good thing about it as well is that it does have some AoE as well if the balloon isn't large. If it does end up striking a large balloon like a ZMG, it won't splash onto everything else. But on this sort of map here, you can end up using it on some of the BFBs to try to make it just a little bit faster. So for example, we'll see it right here.
Yeah, it blew up a little bit more than it would have otherwise.
How dare it? So as we've got the main core of the strategy down at this point, now it's just a case of trying to emphasize exactly what we've been going for here. Again, we're going to try to just snipe it off. Perfect timing, beautiful. And to really dig deep here, we're going to get another first strike. Again, just to try to clear it off. Because you know what's good? One first strike, but what's really good having two of them?
And in particular, round 97 is very nice to have multiple first strikes for.
So in this sort of instance here, we're not going to end up using any of the first strikes. Oh, there we go, look at that. And then we're going to just first strike it again. Oh, might want to reset the ability on this one.
No, you don't need to.
Oh, no, it's going to hold. Yep, okay, you know what?
I was supposed to get shattering shells, but I forgot. Whatever.
Oh, well, we'll just end up with a $20,000 dues left over here. And big bada booms, get the job done. It really is just that easy with double first strike.
All right.
On to one of my favorites here. Ravine, often arguably quoted as either the hardest map in the game or the second hardest map.
Oh, it's the hardest.
This map features, some very particular dart starts here. This is some of the toughest stuff in the game that you'll end up facing, so Deacon's really got to try to focus and lock in here, just be able to try to find the spot. This one in particular, this bottom dart, is the one that I think ends up tripping up people quite a bit.
I'm gonna even wait for one extra tree cycle. I hate this.
Yeah, so what we end up usually doing here to try to find the perfect spot is when the tree sways all the way back to the left there, we try to get it so that it cuts through the dart monkey's eye, because we need it at a particular angle for round 7. Also, what we're going to do here is we're going to use this sword here, as you'll see Deacon clicking on everything to snipe off the last green bloom. This map was impossible to try to clear on Chimps before that green bloom was added. So
the sword was added.
Yeah, not the green bloom. The green bloom was always there. So we'll be seeing quite a few dart monkeys to just start off here, just to try to shore everything up. But past round 10, we'll start to try to afford a hero.
And the fifth dart monkey the fifth dart monkey is actually kind of hard to do quickly, and I don't know if I placed it correctly until round 11. So if we didn't place it correctly, we have to restart this whole map.
Yeah, I mean, there is unfortunately in the early game here, while later on in the game we may be able to solve some of our problems just by having leftover money. Early on in the game we are very, very precise, simply because it's just, we can't make a mistake. These are very strict build orders.
And then, so we're using Geraldo as our hero here, who's a very different kind of hero. So previous heroes have a main attack that kind of gets stronger as the level goes on, and some abilities that let you kind of push past some of the harder rounds, but Geraldo has neither of those. Instead, he has this shop that lets you, that has these items in it. What these items kind of are kind of cheaper versions of what you would have to, of what you can use that you would normally have to like upgrade your dart monkeys to get. So we have these turrets, which are like a better but slightly more expensive version of a dart monkey, but better than like an upgraded dart monkey. There are these spikes, which are very cheap, but let you kind of catch some leaks if you need to. One actually extremely broken item that he has is this glue, where
we'll be showing that off right now.
I think I did that too early, but that's okay.
We'll make it work either way here. So the glue here, being able to slow down balloons, especially early on in the game, means that a defense that would usually not be able to hold on maps like this here are able to hold. Oh, let's get that camo balloon. Even something like that there. So typically Geraldo is used for this early game here as it's like a catch-all, right? It's a mixed bag of biscuits. And later on in the game, his main strength is the fact that a lot of the shop items, even though some of the strongest stuff that he's got is temporary, the fact that it is so strong is what's going to be able to carry us across the line. But we'll explain that as we come to it here. Round 28 is a little bit interesting, as this leads will all come from one side. The thing with the Druid of the Jungle on this map is that the Druid of the Jungle really shines when it's able to target one lane, but as soon as it has to split, it loses a lot of effectiveness. So if you're able to micro well, you're able to keep all the balloons in the back here. But now that we've got the vines happening straight away here, as the Druid is reloaded at the end of the round there's no problem at all. So this is one of the benefits of using Geraldo here, is Geraldo's got access to a temporary camo potion here which lasts for 5 rounds, and it does exactly that. It gives that tower camo for 5 rounds, or the ability to see camo. So we're going to make good use of that here, is because our defense is all spread out, it's very hard to try to find a camo detection that's going to be able to hit 4 lanes here. So Ravine is, one of the longest maps here in terms of expert difficulty, but it makes up for the fact that these lanes are just so split apart here, and that very left lane that you'll see on this left side here is the third shortest lane in the entire game in terms of distance to exit. So it's a very tough map in that regard. Here we see Deacon's actually going for a tower that we haven't really seen yet. So something that we haven't done yet is make use of flying towers in this game, as typically we can end up placing all of a defense in the front row. However, here, because these bridges in the middle block all line of sight unless you see directly down the middle of them, we have to rely on some flying towers to be able to get the job done. And we're going to rely on the never miss targeting, which definitely was a bit of a misnomer in the past. It definitely did miss. However, nowadays it is just a seeking tower. The ace shots that you'll end up seeing in the future here don't all seek onto their targets here. So the fact that you're able to produce a whole bunch of shots here that end up seeking is very useful for a map like this. One of the main strategies that we end up using here is you see Deacon end up putting an item onto the ace here. The ace ends up doing 1 damage with all its shots, so it ends up taking buffs very well. So Berserker Brew, the buff tower that we're ending up using here, adds an extra damage onto that ace. So we're essentially doubling its effectiveness, and we're going to be using this all through the mid game to try to clear up as many balloons as possible.
Yeah, then we're actually going to get down a second monkey ace. This monkey ace, the darts are going to always miss.
It's like any any gentleman at the toilet seat would recognize the fact that some of your shots, they just tend to go everywhere, and the ace is the best sign of that, I'd say.
Yeah.
But these shots, as you'll see, these are going everywhere.
Yeah, but it does shoot a missile, and those missiles do not miss. The missiles are specifically, though, for hitting Moabs. So when the blimps start coming, we're going to... yeah, right there.
We're going to seek him there pretty darn well.
Yeah.
It's very interesting as well. A few patches ago, the fighter plane missiles didn't end up just going around in circles. But what Geraldo ended up just purchasing there was a pet bunny. And this, honestly, is a little bit of a flex here. Look, this speedrun is pretty tough, but Deacon is going out of his way just to do a little bit of a flex here. You'll see these pet bunnies being purchased.
They do nothing.
Simply because he can, you know?
They do nothing. Yeah, they do nothing, and they cost almost $2,000. But they're very cute.
In
so...
Ninja we thought it was good. Yeah, it was good to add a cosmetic in, right?
Yeah, no, you know in GDQ they have this thing, Save the Animals, so that's what we're doing here.
We're saving the animals from a tyrannical shopkeeper's shop.
Yeah.
You know what? It checks out. Look, there's even 3 of them at this point. God, aren't they just so cute? So yeah, you can see that Geraldo's had some extra items added into his shop here. The unfortunate thing is that the majority of them are, how shall we say, they don't exactly apply to a lot of what we're doing here, but there are quite a few items here that we may end up seeing a little bit later on into the run. So yeah, I think you can get up to 4 pet rabbits with Geraldo here. And oh my god, what happened to it? Oh my lord. Is that some sort of demon bunny it's turned into?
Yeah, that jumps around and pops everything? I don't think so. But yeah, I think it's a reference to Monty Python and the Holy Grail, because there's this bunny that jumps around and bites people's heads off. Which is very funny that the Ninja Kiwi has that reference.
It's got red eyes and everything.
Yeah.
This is no longer a cute bunny anymore. This is a bunny with bloodlust.
Yes.
Or poplust, I suppose.
Yeah, and round 63 is normally an issue, but this bunny is really good at popping ceramics. So round 63 turns into nothing, which is actually really cool.
Yeah. the thing about the bunny as well is that if you can keep the balance distance in between its attacks really short, it'll attack really fast. As you can see, it's kind of just jumping around there. If it's got really long bounces there, it's going to end up attacking slightly slower. We keep it on strong for the meantime though, as it does one-shot ceramic balloons, and the rest of the towers can end up clearing it up. But typically, as the game goes on, it loses a little bit of effectiveness, so we'll end up trying to clear up some super ceramics with it instead. Now, at this point here, we would usually try to end up saving up one of the big towers here. There's a reason why we've ended up grabbing the top path ace there, and it's not just because it's good. However, Geraldo's shop items are really good. And at this point here, the turrets that Geraldo ends up offering have been upgraded so that they no longer deal 2 damage. I believe they end up doing 5 damage now. So at a price point of $270, they're actually really good at just clearing up some rogue ceramics that are going to end up coming through later on in the game, because Deacon is going to end up going for the Sky Shredder, which is a very strong tower, but as we alluded to earlier, a lot of shots do kind of end up missing. It goes all over the place, so it's very hard to guarantee that they're going to go where we need them to go. There is the possibility of trying to micro the tower, however... trying to ace micro in the middle of the speed run.
We're doing this in marathons to increase the popularity of speedrunning this game, so that some like try-hard 12-year-old can ace micro their way to world records.
I'm not going to try to pretend that we're not old men who are pushing 100 at this point here with old crickety hands.
Yeah.
So we got to try to get the kiddos involved here somehow, I suppose.
Exactly. All right, as Frosty discovered today or yesterday, and how I've discovered a few times, round 75 can be a little bit finicky, but we're going to hope that we survive.
And we pick a true sun god and we pray on this round here.
Yeah.
More often than not, it is fine. We've got the juggernauts in the back to try to clear up some of the ceramics, but sometimes, I haven't even explained the best part of this map here, have I, Deacon? Sometimes the balloon split is a little bit all over the place here. So what ends up happening on this map is, depending on how you pop balloons, it can affect where some of the other balloons go. So for example, if I pop a BFB, it can mean that a tower that was supposed to go along the left lane now goes along the right side of the lane instead. Which is very fun for trying to figure out consistent strats here. So typically what we'll end up doing here is we'll try to hedge our bets as much as possible, but unfortunately we can't always guarantee that things are going to go according to plan. However, in this circumstance here, what we're going to do is we're going to try to place down a glue at the appropriate time here to catch the majority of the camo ceramic wave that's coming up. And Deacon's got good timing on it there, so it shouldn't be a problem.
I use the money counter, so at $38,280 is when I place it down.
That's it. And at this point here, Sky Shredder is just across the way here, so we're going to end up trying to afford that before round 80, because if we have to go through round 80 without abilities here, we're kind of just skirting the line here, but without Sky Shredder, it's going to be a little bit difficult. So as you'll see here, Deacon is going to try to place down as many of these little mines here. The spike pile that we had before has been upgraded to a mine instead now, which is very useful for us. Because as I alluded to earlier, the Sky Shredder is going to go circling around and around. Now, you can end up trying to redirect it here, and some players are very good at that. We call that ace micro. However, for the sake of the speedrun here and just trying to place down everything, as this late game does get a little bit hectic with all of Geraldo's items coming down, we will instead just be letting it go around in a circle here for the most part. So what Deacon's going to do here is Deacon's going to end up placing down a glue, and then an engineer with the ability to try to upgrade this into an overclock. And an overclock is a very special tower in this regard, as an overclock has the ability to, well, overclock a tower, giving it a 67% attack speed here. So it's really good for expensive towers where you can't afford to spend the exact same amount as you would on that tower there. but for about $16,000, you can essentially nearly double its effectiveness. So we'll just see Deacon's going to end up placing down a few items here. You'll see that turrets and mines are the biggest ones that we want to try to get down as soon as possible, as those are going to be our late game barriers to try to make sure that we don't end up taking a premature game over. Luckily for us here, Sky Shredder is really good at clearing up a lot of these denser balloon waves in the 80s. But typically into the 90s it starts having a little bit of trouble, but in the meantime, should be right. Should be right, mate. Should be right. There we go. So DDTs are typically somewhat of a problem, but in this, we've got so many different shop items that we're going to end up trying to clear those up with. One really important thing to note is that on level 20, Geraldo's items take time to restock over time there. Some of them are single use there as well, so you know you end up purchasing the bunny there. We unfortunately can't get a second bunny because, well, it would be a little bit busted admittedly. But what we're doing here is that we're trying to spam out as many things as possible before Geraldo hits level 20 and resets all of his shop items there. Another thing to note is that Deacon has ended up picking up a Shattering Shells to try to not only de-camo everything, but all of our towers already have camo anyway, but it's used to remove fortification here on everything else. So we'll see Deacon just spamming down a few more shop items and then probably going for a first strike to help clear everything up, as well as overclocking on this round, because without overclock, we just die. Funny how that works, eh? That's it. Don't forget to move your Shattering Shells as well.
You're right, yeah.
There we go. There is a lot going on in this late game here, so much so that it is very easy for us to lose track of things, especially when you're trying to spam down things. We saw on the bottom left there that the spike pile ended up taking a little bit of damage there, so that's the reason why we end up spamming out those mines, is just to make sure that nothing goes wrong. And round 98 in particular is a really good one. We're going to end up using two of Geraldo's genies, which are really good at doing Moab damage, combined with the fact that we got a Relentless Glow just a little bit earlier, and Geraldo's temporary Maelstroms, which are a nice burst of damage. We're going to overclock this round, and with double genie, clear everything up. And then Geraldo has two rejuvenation potions, which allow you to reset ability cooldowns. And so we clear that one up, lickety-split. That was a really clean ravine.
Yeah, did have a death unfortunately, but what can you do?
Oh well. Look, you know what? In a run like this here, it's inevitable that mistakes are going to end up happening.
Yeah.
So we're on to Flooded Valley now, which is a interesting little map. As we can see, there is a whole bunch of water on the right side and a whole bunch of land on the bottom side here. Unfortunately, the dam is a big old elevation trap.
Yeah.
So all the towers that we would usually see to try to clear off this top side here just doesn't happen. So we need to focus on water towers here. And the hero that we're using today is going to be focusing a whole bunch on water, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. So this
We've
is
got,
Admiral
Brickle.
Yeah, Admiral Brickle.
That's it, go on.
I use the default skin, so this is Admiral Brickle. She has some abilities that are really, really good for water towers. You place her down, though. That's important. Which will unlock, I think, on round 16, I think? I forget. Have we seen the sub yet? Is this the first time we've seen the sub?
Oh, I mean, we've used the sub for first strikes, but I don't believe we've used the sub for anything else quite yet.
Okay. Yeah, we use it for first strike, but
subs.
Sub is a great early game tower, actually.
Yeah,
it's a great early game and half cash tower. If you have water. So there's this advanced intel. What this does is it fires darts that into the range of other towers, and if that other tower can also see camo, it can shoot into that, and so in that way it can kind of indirectly detect camo. So Brickle has a few things. So she is pooping out these mines, which do a bit of damage. The other thing that she
I've never
does.
heard anyone refer to them as pooping out mines there before. I'm gonna have to steal that one from
I mean,
you.
what else is it? Like,
Popping them out there, I suppose, but you know, potato, potato.
all right, but then so we're going for the top path sub actually, which can also submerge and give camo that way, which is okay.
It's a little bit inconsistent is probably the thing to note here, especially while it's only tier 3, as the tick rate that it usually ends up having is a little bit hit or miss, even with the twin guns. So Deacon's main job is going to be trying to get this up to a plutonium reactor as soon as possible, which will instantly decamo and damage balloons as soon as it comes into radius.
Yep. And so Brickle has this ability, which is really good when paired with water towers, called Naval Tactics. And what that does is this allows all towers to pop, or all water towers within her range to pop all balloon types, and I think double their attack speed, which is huge. Like it's really strong.
So that's the main reason why we're ending up using a whole bunch of water towers here, is that it's just some of the best towers in the entire game also just happen to be water towers, simply because not every map contains water. But they also just so happen to have a whole bunch of homing abilities on them as well, which is really useful for a speedrun, especially on expert maps here where range is kind of a big deal. So this map is a double-sided map here. There is technically 2 lanes. It just so happens to be the same 2 lanes as each other here. So we want to be able to hit this top side as quickly as we possibly can. And the way that we're going to be doing that is, well, it's kind of twofold here. We're going to be using our Buccaneer that we've ended up upgrading into a destroyer here. But that's only got limited range for the time being, but its later tiers are going to be really strong for us in being able to hit both sides. But Brickle also has an ability called Mega Mine, which is her level 10, which is, I mean, it's pretty much exactly what it sounds like, isn't it, Deacon? It deals a whole bunch of damage. It's perhaps the most damaging ability in the entire game for a whole bunch of rounds. Think of it, it's like a first strike, but it's an area of effect.
Yeah, it does a big damage to big balloons.
That's it. So we grab a double plutonium reactor, as we like having damage on both sides here. We end up using naval tactics on round 43 just to be able to try to shore everything up. And then our next big goal here is to try to afford an aircraft carrier.
Yep.
And an aircraft carrier is really good because it ends up spawning out little mini planes. So that's how we're going to be hitting the top side as well as the bottom side at the same time.
Yeah, so in chat, is this with no continues? We will retry rounds if we have to. We have been retrying rounds.
This is not a black border attempt at all.
Ideally, we wouldn't, but you know, this is a long run and a marathon, so.
It's also really easy to leak, especially in expert maps here, because a lot of the things that we try to do are incredibly time sensitive. So even sometimes if we're just a quarter of a second off in the placement of a tower here, something can end up leaking. So not having to restart a map just because we end up making just a small little mistake there is it's very helpful.
Not very marathon safe.
Absolutely not. So, even though typically we've seen a lot of speedruns here where we've kind of grabbed a few towers in the meantime here, you know, we might have grabbed a few mer monkeys here, you know, we might have, I don't know, grabbed a few tack shooters here. On this map in particular, this save up is just good enough to get into the tier 5, the carrier flagship, which is pretty much just a supercharged version of the aircraft carrier that we've got right now. The planes are very strong like that. But it's also got one of the strongest abilities in the game, which allows you to place land towers on 2 of the spots that become available to it. So we are going to show off a few interactions with that in a split second here.
Yep.
But we're going to have to get through it the next
Yeah,
few rounds here, aren't we?
The only issue is round 57 is very sketchy. But
Yeah,
it should we should be able to do it in at least in a couple tries, if not first
Surely
try.
we get some good marathon luck, right?
Okay, that's good. So now we can just naval tactics the second batch of Moabs and be fine.
Yeah. I guess something worth saying as well is that even though Brickle has a little ability for a level 7 there, I believe it's called Blast Chain, which ends up pooping out more of those mines, typically it really doesn't do anything to help at all too much.
Yeah, what it does is it makes it's supposed to make all of the mines hit all the balloons within range, but it's useless.
So, we're gonna get an ice monkey down at this point here, and the purpose of this ice monkey is not for an embrittlement this time. It's for an Arctic wind. Because an Arctic wind is going to allow us to place land towers on water here. Specifically, we're going to try to get a jungle drums as soon as possible to buff up our aircraft carrier or our carrier flagship. And then we will show off our next tier 5 that we're going to go for.
First, we'll get this mermonkey here just to make sure that it's placed properly.
That's it. We need to make sure that we Tetris everything appropriately here so that everything sticks in range. But from here, we're going to get a spike factory. And we're going to go for one of my favorite cross parts here. Carpet of spikes.
Target sighted. Fire when ready.
There we go.
Yeah.
So carpet of spikes in particular.
Yeah, someone did point out in chat that Ice Monkey is now amphibious, so in theory we do not need to place it on top of the carrier flagship. But back in the old days we did, and this is kind of an old-fashioned strategy.
Well, there is actually a reason. So there is a reason why we end up doing it here for this strat in particular. One is because it lines up everything well next to the track, and 2 is because of the aura that it ends up having on the tower here. You can end up catching rogue ceramics that end up coming through here, is that there is a chance later on in the game that things end up leaking. Even in the 70s here, even though carrier flagship is really good at clearing up mobs and the sword, if there is a bit of plane RNG depending on where the things are facing, and if the planes aren't facing the proper way and you're not getting proper shots down the line, you can and will miss ceramics. So having a tower that just holds some ceramics in place and slows them down is pretty valuable. But yes, the Ice Monkey is now amphibious, so theoretically you don't need to do it, but I mean, we get a carrier flagship anyway because it synergizes really well with Brickle. And I mean, might as well get some value out of it in the meantime.
Carrier flagship's a really good tower. It synergizes with Brickle. It also has global range. And like you said, it's just because we can put the Ice Monkey closer to the track if it's on top of this carrier flagship. Anyways, you also got the Spike Storm, so this is the tier 4 version of the Spike Factory where it has an ability that does that.
Yeah. So the main reason why we end up using the main reason why we end up using this factory on this map here is because it is it's a single lane. So usually what this factory does is it spews out spikes on every track, puts them everywhere. But the shorter that a track is, the more condensed that it is, the more spikes land in a single area. So when we end up using a spike storm, it can do a lot of damage very rapidly. And I mean, I guess it also is just some pretty nice spikes that it ends up spewing out here as well, just for a little bit of extra safety.
Yep.
We'll tactics just purely for a little bit of safety there as well. Those ceramic waves, again, can be just a little bit scary. I don't know that I've ever died to them, but again, you never really want to have it happen during a speedrun here, so better to be safe than sorry, right?
Yeah.
Fire when ready.
And then we'll see the Mega
Deploying
Mine do
Megamind
some
here.
big damage.
Combined with the Spike Storm there, pretty much instantly clears the CMG up.
Yeah.
I guess one thing we did mention about a Mega Mine as well is that there is the ability to have them carry over during rounds. They actually do end up lasting for quite a while. They can last for up to, I think, 3 rounds or like 180 seconds. So typically what we'll end up doing is we can pre-place a lot of mines here in anticipation to try to get the cooldown up a little bit sooner for the next one. Yeah, like for example there, a lot of ceramics could have leaked there due to that spike storm, but because we had the Arctic wind, it's not a problem.
Target sighted. I have not yet begun the fight.
We're almost at the cap of the spikes. It ends up costing about 44,000 at this point here, so typically during the 80s, after 83 and 84 is the time where you want to be hitting your next big power spike, as the later half of the rounds, especially in the 80s there, do not offer a lot of money. So you've got to get the carpenter spikes up there. And the carpenter spikes is going to activate that spike storm ability every few seconds. So on top of being incredibly strong here, it's offering a lot of safety too. So much so that it's just really fast.
Target sight. Fire when
I feel like it's so much we're even gonna get a second one.
Because how do you beat a single carbon spikes there? You get 2 of them. One important thing to note here as well is that we did end up mentioning an Abyssal Warrior before. We've actually grabbed another Abyssal Warrior here. And the reason for that is that the Abyssal Warrior, on top of having the ability to clear up ceramics really well, also has this little passive effect where it increases the pierce of towers around it. And because the Spike Factory ends up working purely based on pierce for its damage, means that it combines really well with it. So after Deacon's done all of the small little placements here, we're going to try to grab a lot of the Abyss to try to clear up all of the insights that end up spewing out after the Carpenter Spikes has done its damage.
Oh, and one really nice thing about Carpet of Spikes is you don't need to worry about DDTs.
Oh yeah, they absolutely shred through DDTs here. DDTs are, as I mentioned before, perhaps the most annoying tower type to have to deal with in these speedruns here, because they are just so incredibly fast and dangerous. But luckily, Carpenter Spikes just invalidates a lot of these rounds here, and Lord of the Abyss is just going to end up clearing up everything really nicely there. So we'll just see another Spike Storm come down here, again just to try to shore everything else up here, because as you can see, even though we end up doing a lot of damage here, the balloons do end up running through the spike piles incredibly quickly. And then from this point, just to try to help the last few rounds go really quickly, we end up grabbing a glue strike here, and the glue strike is going to end up doing something similar to what the Super Build did before.
I need
Oh,
to.
it should be.
I need to not use 2 spike storms.
Yeah, you should be holding that there. Yeah, because round 99 here, even though if you do get a little bit lucky, you should be alright.
Oh wait, I didn't get the spike storm. Uh-oh.
Oh, there we go, that's alright. We got the glue strike first here, it's fine, we'll get the spike storm here. I think with Enable Tactics you should be able to get through this fine. Or a spike storm there, yeah.
I didn't realize I
fine, we got
didn't
another
get the
time.
spike storm.
It's all good, we got another one up in time there. And then we use the glue strike
Oh, I
here
should
just
have.
to
I
add
should
an
have
extra
swapped
3
the order
damage.
of that. Yeah.
That's all good. Excuse me.
Okay.
And we're 6 maps down.
Ready to fly.
All right. So now we get to do one of the easiest expert maps.
Infernal, everyone's favorite. Everyone's favorite, my apologies. This one in particular is, I mean, the early game is a little bit annoying if you haven't got the right boomerang placement. It is somewhat tight, especially if it ends up doing stuff like that. But the idea here is we're just going to use an early game boomerang just to try to clear everything off. And then we're going to try to save into Etienne. But first things first, we got to try to afford a few upgrades just to try to make sure that nothing gets past here. So we'll end up going for a, what, a 022 boomerang?
Yeah, 022 and then a sniper and then Etienne.
There we go. So it turns out Infernal is a tough map because it ends up featuring not a lot of space. So all of the red area around it is, just imagine this is just a very, very deep volcano. And we only have the small little rocks in the middle here and on the sides there as well to try to place down towers. So this is going to be a map that's going to be featuring a few old friends, but we're going to use them in a strategy combining each of them together.
Yeah, this is actually a very common strategy on intermediate and advanced maps. So if you look at the intermediate and advanced map speedruns, we use this strategy a lot.
Yeah. The good thing about this map is that even though there is 2 lanes and they alternate every single round, technically because everything is coming from one side at a time, it means that it's very easy to anticipate where the balloons are going to come from. It means that there is a lot of consistency when it comes to this sort of stuff, and because a lot of the placements are relatively close together, means that we can just spam out towers in the same area here and have them do the job. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to go grab some water really quickly, alright?
Okay. And so we're going to get Druid of the Jungle here again. On single lane maps, Druid of the Jungle is extremely strong. As we mentioned before, it creates this vine that spawns anywhere on the map. Particularly, it can spawn at the front of the map, which is important for going fast. And what's better than one Druid of the Jungle, but 2 Druid of the Jungles. So we're actually going to get 2 of them here. That will create a second vine, which just makes things even faster.
Excellent. Have you explained how we go for double Druid of the Jungle here on this one?
Yep. Yeah, I did. Yeah, we're getting a second one.
You're on top of it.
Yeah. I don't know if this is correct. I do this thing where I put this guy on strong and this guy on first, or are you supposed to keep them both on first?
I think it depends on the round here. I have been trying, because I think the problem that ends up happening is that because they both target first, the vines end up sometimes being in really awkward spots.
Yeah.
So I like to focus one on last instead and one on first.
Okay.
Which ends up covering a lot of ground there more often than not. So we ended up showing off the Destroyer last time. Turns out, a pretty crazy idea. But Carrier Flagship's a really good tower. So we're going to end up having a return feature here. It is not going to be the Super Grill show for us only here today. There's going to be a returning few towers, that's for sure. So what we're going to have to do here, even though Etienne has the ability to grant camo to all of the towers there, that's only unlocked after the first Moab, so all of the early game camo you still need to end up buying
it's unlocked. It's unlocked now. It's unlocked around 38 on expert maps.
Yeah, but it doesn't come into play realistically until after the mob ends up hitting there. So
yeah,
I mean, you know, potato sort of stuff.
Because the next camos are on round 42, but between 37 and 42, it's on 38 where you get camo detection. So you need to be mindful of that. Unless you're doing co-op and you get Etienne down on round 10.
Yeah, I mean, if you were to somehow theoretically do a single dart start on Glacial Trail, which I don't think is possible, but I mean, it might be. I guess you could try to get it before that point as well. You can also spend money to afford it for Etienne as well. So you can purchase hero levels there a little bit sooner if you end up investing a bit of money. We
Yeah.
don't make use of it in this run here, but there are certain times with certain heroes where you would want to do something like that.
Yeah. And here, this strategy is easy enough. I can AFK right now. I'm gonna be right back.
It's quite alright. So the idea behind this strategy here is that we are going to go for a carrier flagship once more here. And the reason why Etienne is here as well is not because Etienne offers range or anything of the sort here. Global heroes are just really hard to come by. So you've got heroes like Corvus, but Corvus is fairly micro-intensive, and because of the fact that Corvus is also expensive, just means that more often than not, it's really hard to make him work. The other thing with Corvus is that Corvus just can't end up hitting multiple lanes at the same time and ends up really struggling with that. And that's one of the big things on expert maps is that you just can't really do all too much about that there, so probably a steer clear of that one. But Etienne has a really large range. Even though Etienne's main attacks don't really do all too much, the UCAF is a big dealio here, and the main reason why we end up using it here, as well as the global camo detection. So we're going to just use Etienne as much as we possibly can for a lot of these maps, but you will see different heroes popping up every now and again, just simply because the map just calls for it. There is one map in particular that you'll see a little bit down the line here where due to the fact that the map is so difficult, we need to use a hero to try to start with it instead of anything else. But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it there. I'm hoping Deacon comes back in time to afford the carrier flagship.
Oh yeah, no, I'm back. Yeah.
Oh, perfectly calculated. I was never worried. I was never worried, my friend.
Never worried. Yeah.
Excellent. So now I get to do the big reveal here. The partner in crime for this carrier flagship is going to be a village. That's right, we're going to grab it a village all the way over there where it can't see it. Now the partner in crime here is going to be a ace monkey. In fact, the ace monkey that we ended up seeing just 2 maps ago. It's going to be another Sky Shredder here. Bit of a twofold reasoning behind this one. One is because it's an air tower and it can close this area here down really well. And 2 is because aces have a small little synergy with the carrier flagship where it ends up getting a little bit of extra attack speed, so we're able to clear off these rounds a little bit faster, and it turns out it just works really well together. One of the things that we don't end up using in any of these runs anymore is helicopters. We used to use monkey pilots a little bit during these runs, particularly for this map in particular. But the problem with helis is that, how do I put this lightly? They kind of suck.
Yeah. I think you mentioned Apache Prime is one of those towers that's really easy to use for beginners, and as a result, Ninja Kiwi's never going to nerf it, but it's not very good. So, for its price, it's just really expensive, and you can kind of tell that it takes a while for it to actually pop balloons. So
the problem is that it's really good in the 70s when you like the tier 4, the Apache Starship is really good at trying to clear up rounds fast there. But as soon as you start hitting bigger balloons with it, it starts to run into a lot of trouble, especially past round 80.
yeah,
So trying to go for an Apache Prime is, more often than not, it's a very big ask.
yeah,
So you lose a lot of time that way, whereas in this sort of strategy here, because you get 2 tier 5s, the power discrepancies that you usually end up facing there end up getting balanced out by the fact that, like, hey, I've already got this powerful thing down, and then I'm going to get another powerful thing.
But now that also begs the question, why didn't we get carrier flagship on Ravine?
Well,
Yeah,
because ravine is a ravine.
Yeah, there's water in there, but any towers that you place in the water can't actually see the track because it's in a big pit.
Even though it's a really big tower there, it still can't see over the ravine.
Yeah, so you're losing. One of the big powerful things about this tower is its main attack, so losing the main attack is not ideal. I did hear that back in the old days, carrier flagship was one of the like the ravine strategy back in the day. Is that true?
I wouldn't exactly know. I would believe so. I could tell you for a fact that I know that around my time there, Sky Shredder was one of the big ravine strats at the time there for the fact that it, well, I mean, it still sees play there today. But I would definitely believe that carrier flagship would have been good. The thing about a carrier flagship is that if you can save up into the aircraft carrier to get the planes going, it's quite good.
Mm-hmm.
But before that point there, you've just got a $5,000 tower just sitting in a ravine doing nothing. So
Yeah, exactly.
it's a little bit hard to justify at that point there. And there are towers that do go a little bit faster.
Yep.
So we steer clear on that one there. But you know what? There may be a time in which I feel like it's time to pull out the old carrier flagship ravine there. And we'll see if we can't go fast with that, but that day is not going to be today.
Yeah, so I'm being very lazy right now and not using any of my abilities. We'll use it on 80.
Yeah. Typically, a lot of these expert maps do call for ability usage. I mean, there has been development of strategies that don't require ability usage to get through. We will see one of those a little bit later on, simply because it is very difficult to come up with strategies that work on that map. But we'll save that for that one there. However, this is, I would argue, the second easiest expert map in the game. And because of that, we can just take it nice and easy.
I mean, it used to be tricky tracks until they made it the hardest map in the game.
I wouldn't say it's the hardest there, but I'd definitely say it's up there. I mean, I'd say that tricky tracks ended up getting a bit of a buff in terms of difficulty there. Instead of being as fast as it was about half as fast. And any time that the balloon split, it would reset that timer before it ended up zooming off again. So it was a very different map, to say the least.
Alright, so we have Sky Shredder now, giving it the Alchemist makes it a lot better, as we saw. And again, we're going to get an overclock, because that also makes the tower a lot better.
Absolutely. I do think, by the way, that Spy Plane, the mid-path cross-pathing there, which double camo damage, I believe, on it, is actually quite good on it there, because I also believe it doubles the explosive damage on it. So I might have to test that out. But from what I've heard, I think it might actually be viable.
I have one of my ravine guides uses Spy Plane because of round 99.
There you go. There you go. I mean, we're thinking on the same wavelength here. We're doing a bit of theory crafting in the middle of a marathon. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to make use of the theory crafting quite yet, but you know what, we'll save it for afterwards, eh? So, we do end up going for a Spike Storm on this map just to try to ensure that some of the DDT rounds that we'll end up seeing a little bit later do go a little bit more smoothly. But something interesting to note is because this map is dual laned here, the Spike Storm is not going to be effective as you ended up seeing it on Flooded Valley. simply because when we end up pressing this ability, it's going to go on both lanes. It doesn't target just the lane that it ends up going on here, or the balloons are on. It'll go everywhere. And they can call this bike stall for nothing after all. So we'll overclock on this just to clear up the big balloons here.
I'm supposed to use it earlier, but hopefully we're okay.
Well, I mean, you know, I don't think it'll end up affecting it too much. First strike to clear off the big balloon there. That 97 does look a little bit close there, Jesus. But a nice little relentless to ensure
yeah, this is
that
a marathon save. I saw you used a. I saw that you used something else, right? The embrittlement, which I tried, and round 99 got really close, so I did not like it.
I play things close to the danger zone, what can I say? Oh, very nice little splitty there. And that's Infernal done. What's up next? Bloody Puddles. Oh boy. This is a map with a bit of history here, isn't it?
Oh, is it? Yeah. So this used to be the hardest map in the game with this really awful dart sub start, but because of this new Desperado monkey, it's much easier now. So I'd actually call it the second hardest map in the game.
I tend to agree with you there as well. The sub dart start in particular was the most precise start in the entire game. I believe you had around 6 to 8 pixels to place the sub on correctly, so that when it ended up shooting out its homing shots, it would end up acquiring the best targets, not only for round 6 but round 7 as well. And then you got to play the game. However, thankfully, due to the Desperados being added, we no longer have to deal with that shenaniganry anymore. And more often than not, it is just better to go for this Desperado start, as it allows for, I would argue, a little bit more flexibility than the Substar.
Yeah. Now, granted, the start is still not super easy, especially with auto start on, because when you place these snipers, changes the shot timing. So there's a bit of inconsistency with that, but if you place things in between rounds, then the start is actually really, really nice and not too bad.
So in the sake of this, we're going to try to line these sniper shots as close to the appropriate timing as possible here.
That was also,
there is still the chance.
To be fair, that was also an issue with the previous start, except it was even worse. All right, with the sub, with this strategy with the Desperado, things tend to work out more often than not. I'd say there's maybe like a 60% chance you do it without dying, whereas before it was like a 5% chance. I don't know. I never tried auto starting the old way. I'd say I was gonna say I would say maybe like 80 or 90, but round 21 is one of those more finicky rounds, because what you're supposed to do is micro this top left sniper to close, but that's a bit too hard to do with auto start on, at least in my opinion. So
it's very hard to do it consistently. You can do it. The problem is that it requires a very specific balloon snipe to start off, because it's a little bit different the way that this map works. If you can try to catch balloons with the sub as soon as possible, you will try to keep them back in their starting area there. But as soon as balloons start trying to make it towards the exit, because the sub projectile has to try to chase after it, it means that it is very difficult for you to try to catch things that is leaking. So if you end up missing a balloon, more often than not, you just won't have the time and you'll end up losing. So it requires very precise timing there. We haven't seen Gwendolyn yet, though, have we?
We have not. So Gwendolyn is a pyromaniac. She loves fire, so it might surprise you that her main attack is a flamethrower. I don't know, big shock.
Whoa, no way.
She has a level 3 ability which drops a cocktail on the track, which is okay. But the main reason why we're getting her is that when Gwendolyn attacks 40 times, she has something called the Heated Up buff, which is a passive ability that gives all towers within her range extra damage and lead popping power. So when paired with something like snipers, it's actually very strong. So we're going to go with a sniper-based strategy with Gwendolyn, and we're using Gwendolyn because of her Heated Up ability.
Notably, Gwendolyn typically gets her Heated Up ability from attacking more often than not. However, due to the fact that this map features 5 lanes and is, it's a bit of a demon for that regard. We will typically be focusing on trying to use Gwendolyn's level 10 ability, which activates Heated Up on every single tower on the map. This strategy is doable without using any abilities, so long as you don't have auto start on. But due to the fact that we're running with auto start here, we do end up using a few abilities just to make sure that things run smoothly. And it also speeds it up as well, I suppose. That also helps. I mean, we are speedrunning right now.
So we haven't mentioned these villages. We've used these villages before, particularly this discount path. One thing that's pretty nice to do is to actually get 2 discount villages. What that lets you do is each village has 2 cross paths that you can get. One being jungle drums, which increases the attack speed of all towers within range, which is very good. But then there's also the middle path, which gives camo to any tower within range, which is also really important in particular for this sniper that doesn't have camo. So if you get 2 villages, you can actually get both paths while also saving a lot of money by discounting all towers that you place within it. So you get kind of the best of both worlds at the expense of it taking kind of a ton of space. So that's kind of what the trade-off is. But you'll often see these double discount villages in a lot of quite a few strategies if you look up some guides.
Turns out that even though you can't make extra income in Chimps here, discounting something is somewhat of a income hack there. So the more that you're able to discount multiple towers, the better off that you'll be able to be. Especially in a sniper strat like this one here, we will be spamming out multiple snipers and discounting multiple things. So the sooner we can get these discounts here, the better.
Yep.
What Deacon's going to end up going for here will be a supply drop, which will be one of those money-generating towers. But we're not looking for the money side of things on the supply drop. It does get a little bit stronger. But Elite Sniper in particular, the tier 5, is another money tower that just so happens to be a really strong attacking tower as well.
It's a strong attacking tower. It has a pretty good attack. So when we go from tier 4 to tier 5, so the tier 3 is the bouncing bullet, so it does what it sounds like. It shoots a bullet that bounces to other balloons. The tier 4, so I didn't realize this, but the game no longer has abilities that wouldn't make money in Chimps. So the tier 4 is really not good for its price. And the reason why is because there's supposed to be an active ability that makes you money, but since you can't make money in Chimps, it doesn't do anything. The tier 5 substantially increases the attack speed of this middle path sniper, and it gives an attack speed buff to all other snipers on the map. So the strategy we're going for here is the Axis of Havoc, which is where we get all 3 tier 5 snipers. So, and in strategies where you're getting a lot of snipers, getting the elite sniper first is very nice because it provides a nice attack speed buff to the other snipers we'll end up getting. So a lot of times in Axis of Havoc strategies, you do actually prioritize the elite sniper first.
Absolutely. You do want a little bit of single target there because the elite sniper does rely on those bounces and the shrapnel that the bounces produce to guarantee a lot of damage. So that's where the full auto rifle is coming in here. However, at this point here, we've got everything that we need to be able to clear up everything pretty darn well. So we're going to go for the second tier 5, the Elite Defender now, which will be used to clear off some of those bigger balloons there nice and quickly.
Yeah, everyone's favorite sniper. It's very easy to understand. It's like a moderate amount of damage, but very fast.
I mean, when I saw it there, it was probably my favorite tower there because I'm like, this thing just shoots really, really, really fast.
Yeah.
And that means that it's really, really, really cool
Yeah.
how this works. So as you saw there, we ended up seeing Deacon clear off some of those larger balloons there with the heated up ability from the Firestorm. But the Firestorm also ends up doing a moderate amount of burn damage as well. So you'll end up seeing him use the ability typically to try to clear up something like a BFB.
Yeah,
just like there.
A
which
little
would end
bit
up taking
faster.
a little bit longer. Yeah.
Like, it's not actually necessary to use any of these. I think there's really one ability that you kind of do need to use, even though the guide that we ripped this strategy from says not to. You don't need it, but you do need it, which is 93. I don't think I've ever done 93 without that ability, so...
I think you can use it. I think I have done it before, but it is mostly just a case of there's a 99% chance that it works. Why would you have a chance the 1% there? There's no reason to. It helps you go faster. Doesn't make sense. So, Elite Defender time.
Yep.
Oh, wait, have you got the Elite Sniper on Elite there, or...?
Oh, that explains some of the stuff that was happening. Okay.
So, a little niche sort of thing here that ends up happening as soon as you upgrade to a Elite Sniper. Your targeting changes to Elite, which is a bit of a funky targeting, which means that for 75% of the track there, your Elite Sniper will target the thing that is the strongest, but as soon as something enters the last 25%, it will target the thing that is about to exit. While that's all well and good, more often than not we need the last 25% to be completely clear, and we need our things to be killing things that are about to exit, so we like to just not use it. I have regularly called Elite Targeting fake, because it is fake.
You have called it fake, but then you used it,
Oh, don't out me like this. Come
the
on
other
now.
day.
It was vibes-based speedrunning. Let's just go with that, shall we?
It was, yeah. I remember you also regretted using it.
Yes,
I
very,
recall.
very immediately. I reminded myself as to why I did not want to use it. Well, you know, live and learn, right? Live and learn.
So now the third sniper that we're getting is this May Moab. So what this does is this does increased damage to Moabs, and it also stuns them for a little bit. So being able to stun Moabs is actually a huge deal. Just being able to slow down any Moab for any amount of time is awesome. So
Something really interesting to note here as well is that this run ends up featuring this main mob and keeps it on first, because one of the really weird things about your sniper strats here is that you don't necessarily want to destroy large balloons quickly, especially when you've got two lanes going at once here. Typically you'll end up only wanting to focus full fire one lane down as soon as possible. So we're going to keep all of our snipers from this point on first, and even though more often than not we would like to, you know, try to clear off some of these rounds a little bit faster, this is kind of one of the trade-offs here for this map, is that we do need to take our time just a little bit more than we would otherwise, because even though things look like they're under control, all it takes is for one thing to go awry here for it to go very, very out of control.
And one thing is that snipers generally have global range, but in this map there's this truck here that's a big line of sight blocker, so we can remove it for $1,000. And whoa.
Oh, no way, that's not supposed to happen!
Wow, so the helicopter crash
Oh,
created
no.
another line of sight blocker that we have to remove for $500.
Yeah,
What a
Ninja
shock.
Kiwi is Ninja Kiwi is a bit of a troll like that. They end up trying to hit you up with that there. I think that's the only time when that happens in the entire game, and it just so
Yeah.
happened to be on the previously hardest map as well. Gotta love it, right?
Yeah. So one thing is that when you're doing Axis of Havoc, it's usually not enough to just get all 3 tier 5 snipers and then win. You need to get some kind of ceramic cleanup and then often a little bit of support. So here we have some stalling that we're using. For the ceramic cleanup, when you're using snipers, one very common thing to do is to get these bouncing bullets with an alchemist, which works for reasons that I don't actually understand.
Okay, so the way that I understand it is that when you've got multiple ceramics, the bouncing bullets will bounce between them quite quickly and they produce shrapnel as well. So every single time it produces shrapnel there, it means that it's going to be doing damage to the ceramics next to it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so by using that, it means that you clear up the ceramics really quickly. However, when the lanes are split like this here and you've got 2 lines of ceramics that you're trying to deal with at once, it starts to become a little bit much.
Yeah.
So the reason why the stall is there is that you're able to focus down one side first and then worry about the other one afterwards.
Yeah, and then and it's a very common way of dealing with multiple lanes is to stall one of the lanes and while one of your global range towers pops down the other lane. So
While we've managed to make 82 other maps not require stall in that regard, this is the one map where we still have to stall out one of the sides here because these lanes are still pretty darn short.
yeah. So the tier 5 version of this main Moab is the Cripple Moab. It kind of amplifies the damage by a lot. It also has each shot create an explosion, which does a little bit more pierce, which is pretty cool. And the main thing about the Cripple Moab that's very nice is that its shots also debuff the Moabs that it hits. So particularly for round 100, it's a way of debuffing the BAD so that your other towers can do more damage to it. So,
Yeah. I mean, we ended up mentioning the Super Brittle a little bit before, how it ended up adding on damage onto every shot that it ends up taking there. The Cripple Moab is the strongest variant of that there, where it ends up, I believe it's either +5 or +6.
yeah.
So the fact that it's global there and that we're using fast-firing snipers means that it's a match made in heaven. But like any good strategy, we have to end up finishing it off with first strike there because there's no better way of clearing off insides, honestly. So, oh, you have been an absolute champ again those first strike skips today, I'll tell you what, good stuff.
No,
But to make
they
up for it, you got
three
the collection event time loss. Congratulations on your grade.
All right.
Alright,
I'm
Workshop's
gonna-
a nice little interesting one now, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm using Striker. I'm not gonna use Sada. But kind of a
We've
similar
got Workshop
idea.
here. 3-dot start here for this one. But the special thing about this map is that this map in particular, while it seems like a straight line and it seems really easy, the conveyor belt that we've got going on now works at a 1.5 times speed than any other lane usually would. So this is a really fast straight line. So you've got multiple ways of counteracting that. Some of the stage hazards here ends up slowing it down, so that top machine ends up slowing down back to a regular speed. And the bottom machine ends up adding on extra track length by putting out those little, whatchamacallit, those machine parts right there. So we will be making use of some of those in the meantime here, but we'll also, more often than not, just be trying to avoid it as much as possible as they start to cost a lot of money as we go later on into the game. It's all going to be about trying to afford a factory in this early game though. So even though a spike factory is usually a very defensive tower, on this map, because the balloons are so fast, it's very hard to try to avoid using it. And it just offers a lot of safety that we otherwise would not have. So we're able to afford it just after round 14 there. And then, I mean, we're not going to end up leaking here because we've got a whole bunch of towers here, but now we can end up trying to save up into Striker Zones, and then probably into a Druid of the Jungle afterwards.
Oh no, I don't get Druid of the Jungle. I should, but I didn't route that in.
You don't!
I don't.
Oh! Blasphemy.
That's probably why it's
unfortunately,
so much slower. We kind of the way I do it. This is a very let's say what was the word, marathon strategy.
Marathon safe. Yeah, very marathon
so
safe strategy.
I rely on this spike factory a bit too much here.
Nonsense. You rely on it just exactly as much as you need to rely on it. Also, something really nice with this strategy that I guess I haven't even thought of before. Striker ended up getting a damage buff just a while back there. Striker ended up has this big bazooka on him, but the big bazooka only ended up doing 1 damage. For some reason, the bazooka ends up doing as much damage as a dart monkey throwing a dart. Who'd have thunk? But now it ends up doing 2 damage there as well, and Striker ends up getting a pretty decent attack speed later on into the game as well, so Striker in terms of being a damage option here is actually quite nice. But we're going to end up doing the exact same thing that we ended up doing here on Sanctuary, which is we are going to end up grabbing a recursive cluster as our early game defense here. We're not going to worry about camos too much because that's what this factory and the factory is for.
Yep. Unfortunately, the camos are
slow. Yeah. Thankfully, the last balloon that we're going to end up facing here is a very fast yellow balloon, so even theoretically, if we were to end up getting some camo detection in there, we're not losing too much time by...
Yeah, even like, because I think with your strategy, you use Sada, and so Sada will pop them, but she'll pop them kind of where this bomb shooter is. So it's not that much slower. That's the cope. That's what I tell myself.
Look, you know what? At the end of the day, there, if it works there and you don't die, that's the biggest time save of all now, isn't it? Not dying.
Dying is indeed slow.
Who would have thought, right? Dying in this game is the particular big time loss here, which is why sometimes you'll see us trying to take it just a little bit safe.
Yeah, and I actually bias
for about 20 seconds or so.
I actually bias more towards safety than most. So
I don't blame you at all during a marathon here. Unfortunately, in the community, I am known for going for some incredibly risky strategies here, especially on this map, which I hold the world record on. I end up making use of that Bomb Blitz passive a little bit more than comfortable, admittedly. Are we supposed to hold the ability here for the insides here, or? Oh no, okay, we're just supposed to get that snipe. Okay, fair enough.
I think I have to use both tracks then. I'll start doing that. It used to work, just with the bottom track extension. I guess what happened is I think Striker got a nerf.
Might be Alchemist's acidic mix.
I think it's I think it's Alchemist,
yeah.
and I think Striker also got a nerf that I'm gonna blame something.
We'll
like
blame
that.
Ninja Kiwi rather than ourselves, right?
Yeah.
All good. So we're gonna end up getting that handy dandy Moab Mola back here, and the Moab Mola is gonna end up helping us keep things nice and fast. The good thing about Mauler is that because a lot of the end balloons that we finish the round on are Moabs in the rounds of 50 and beyond, we can use the assassin to get the final kill there, as the assassin doesn't need to be attacking to find its target. So long as we know when the last balloon is going to end up coming, we can use the assassin ability to try to save as much time as possible, on top of just generally being pretty nice.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but the fact that you're able to clear everything off like super duper easily with a good old assassin ability there. The mobs on this map as well also share that 1.5 speed bonus, so it is very easy to die, and as you can see they end up going midway down the track. So the Moab lane here is very short, so being able to deal with them quickly is incredibly nice. Because this map is so dangerous here, we do end up having to go for a little bit of extra defense here on top of just going for the recursive cluster, which was good enough on Sanctuary. The blues are really fast here though.
Yeah,
so
I actually get spiked mines early here, so...
Yeah. My strategy as well does go for spiked mines, simply because it's so hard to control the ceramics going through here.
Yeah.
And one thing I guess we haven't really mentioned is that all the tables on the map are side blockers as well. So trying to get good line of sight on this map is incredibly tough. So that's the reason why we're kind of banking all of our defense around the Moab lane here, is because this is the only area which can actually see a half decent amount of space. So I believe now we end up going up for the save up for spike mines here, correct?
Oh, we got spike mines.
Oh, not spike mines, bomb blitz.
Yep, yeah, bomb blitz is next.
That's
Round 63 with Striker is actually pretty interesting because his concussive shell has just enough cooldown for you to hit every ceramic rush.
The good news though is that, and this is important, you don't actually, with spike mines here, you don't actually need to clear every ceramic wave. So long as the spike pile has enough time to build up,
Yep.
the spike mines have so much PS on them that you can just easily clear everything up there.
Yeah,
so, for example, spike balls would have easily got run through there.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't need to, you didn't actually need to use the concussive shell for the ceramic rushes, I don't think, but I think it's gotten very close, especially with this kind of more aggressive spike placement.
Yeah. It becomes a lot more relevant past around 80 here, where on Sanctuary it was really easy for us to clear up the super ceramics. Because they're so fast on this map, we will start seeing a lot of super ceramics start to try to go through. So for the fact that we end up bringing Striker Jones and have the ability to reset the Bomb Blitz passive, that's going to play a pretty big role as the game goes on. Also, one thing to mention here as well is that we end up going for this primary mentoring village here. Primary mentoring ends up buffing up all the primary towers here, because... And the reason why we get it is because it's got one really important stat, which is... Oof. Which is range. Having our Bomblets have some extra range here is pretty quintessential to this strategy. Easy. Alright, that should be Bomblets. Awesome. So, what's the go-to now, Mr. Deacon? We're going straight into a super brutal?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Yeah, I forgot
Don't
that
tell me that you're partaking in vibes-based speedrunning as well here.
I forgot that we get super brittle on this map. No, I think so my strategy, I get super brittle and I actually get Moab Eliminator. And what I did last night was I just switched up to get a super brittle before the Moab Eliminator, and I got a gold, so I'm gonna assume that's faster. So.
I mean, you know what? It sounds pretty darn decent to me, so maybe I'll have to test it out on my runs there as well.
Yeah, so Moab Eliminator, we haven't actually seen that yet.
Moab Eliminator is the assassin's big brother here, so it's the tier 5. Ends up costing about the same as the super brittle here, about 30,000 buckers. In fact, it does. Wow, look at that.
That's exactly the same, right?
Yeah, I know. What are yours, right?
Yeah.
But the big thing is that it's got its ability, of course, deals more damage, but the cooldown on it is about 6 times shorter. So you're able to rapidly pump out these high damage abilities for ZOMGs there and everything. And that's a really good combo with Primary Mentoring's ability to reduce cooldown of primary towers as well. So that's a combo that we're going to be making use of here. But the super brittle is most important here because it's going to end up stabilizing the mid 80s, which is where the bomb blitz is going to start to struggle just a little bit now. Except when we do it with the ZMG there, we make it look easy, so you know what.
With Striker, the bomb blitz is actually pretty good, so...
Yeah. So the thing I'm used to here is I'm used to using Sorta, and the bomb blitz is significantly weaker here, especially at this stage of the game.
Yeah.
But Sorta does give you some other luxuries that Striker does not afford, so it's really... You know,
one thing is that I also get this bottom cross path on the Spike Factory, so I could like aim it off of the track, right? If I wanted to make use of the ability.
Yes, you could. You could as well. It's incredibly risky, but you definitely could. The thing to note there is that it would probably be very difficult to do so as well, simply because you have got the super brittle now, and the super brittle ends up clearing up things really, really well.
Yeah.
So
I'm gonna just pre-place these.
I'm
gonna just pre-place these tack shooters. Yeah, this is more of a marathon strategy than like a true like IL strategy that Frosty would accept.
Oh, well. The world record on this map is incredibly risky. It ends up making use of a mid-path Desperado, the Golden Justice, to turn everything into ceramics, and then the Bomb Blitz ability gets triggered because your spike pile can't handle the amount of ceramics that are getting pulled out. And then you do that, and then you skirt the line of the cooldown there really, really, really tightly. So... Definitely not a marathon safe strat. I did try to convince Deacon to try to do it before the run here today. Unfortunately, I wasn't successful. I apologize. But maybe we'll get to see that in the future there. Who knows? This is, yeah, there we go. Just before the Eliminator gets afforded there. The beautiful thing as well is that Deacon doesn't have to go straight into the reset there for the cooldown on it, because we ended up affording it a Eliminator. So a lot of these rounds become a lot easier now.
Yeah, and we can also just spam the ability. I was holding off on using the ability until the last ZOMG, but...
And we get Shattering Shells as well, so Striker Jones ends up buffing up bomb shooters and mortars as well with extra attack speed, so this ability to clear off fortification is going to be super duper consistent. And the runner is just going to be really well off here by finishing off with some attacks to synergize with this super brittle. And then some buffs for it here. And densest round in the entire game becomes absolutely trivialized. Gotta love it. Oh, there we go. Bomblet's ability getting activated there. Oh, not even remotely close. Gotta love that.
Yeah, because he has Striker, you can also use two, or like you can really. Oh, the level 20, right?
Yeah,
it doubles the bomb damage, right, or something.
that's correct. Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
So not only do you get the reset there, but you also get the double damage on the reset. So Quad is arguably, and again, one of those true expert maps that we call is perhaps one of the 4 difficult maps in the entire game here. And the reason for that is, as you can tell, is that there are 4 paths here. The balloons don't like to travel all the way around though. The balloons will take a half loop instead. So
Oh,
balloons exiting from the left side will go out on the right side instead. Fortunately, I think your placement was slightly off there. Yeah, you
not
did
slightly
definitely.
off. It was very off. I shoved it all the way there instead of putting it by the flower. Yeah, it was bad.
So again, the placements for the darts here are a little bit precise, and we do need all of them. We do skip over going for a 4th dart, and the idea behind that is because the map is somewhat centralized here, we're going to use this sub instead to try to snipe off everything. And the sub placement is again a little bit precise because it needs to be able to clear off round 9,
Yeah.
which contains a whole bunch of green balloons. And if it does not home the correct way, you will be having to restart.
I've had it not work, but then retrying the round it did work. I don't know what happened.
I think
But
it's just the
think
shot
it's-
timing there sometimes
Yeah.
forces the sniper, oh not the sniper, the sub to turn, which just makes it super duper awkward. It's a very finicky game sometimes, what can I say?
So we brought back our good old friend Etienne again, but this
He's
is
back.
this is not going to be the same strategies that we've used Etienne for in the past.
No, Etienne's. We've mentioned a lot of things that Etienne is here for, but this is very similar to the reason why we bring him on tricky tracks, which is not for the global camo, it's not for the UCAP ability, but it's actually for the fact that he ends up giving your towers extra range this time.
Yeah.
But we'll end up making use of that extra range in the meantime. He'll do a decent job at clearing up the early game here as well. That's the nice thing about Etienne, is even though Etienne is arguably a mid-game hero, so I'd argue Etienne really starts to hit his stride past round 40. He is still decent in the early game, you know, decent power level and everything, scales up over time. But past round 40 is when we're really going to see him start to get really strong. In the meantime, we'll use this airburst darts instead to pop everything. Good old reliable, as we like to call it.
Yeah.
Definitely never has failed us before in the slightest.
I'm gonna go straight for triple guns. That's just easier.
Yeah, this does contain a little bit of variation here in the terms of the early game on which you feel comfortable with. Some players end up going for a Morglaives first, a boomerang.
Well, technically it's faster at the very least to go for the red hot ranks here, because the leads here take just a little bit longer to pop down with just the sniper.
But it is theoretically safer to go for the triple guns first.
Yeah.
Simply because round 27 does get a little bit close, especially with the swarm of balloons going all around the place.
Yeah.
So, as you can probably tell, we haven't really gotten a whole bunch of camo here. Etienne is usually our camo. And the sub is usually able to see a whole bunch of camo here if the tower has it. And this is the main reason why we've placed the sniper so close to the track, is because even though the sniper can see the entire map, the actual range that the sniper has got in terms of other towers and what it can see is incredibly tiny. But even with that said, that tiny little bit of camo range ends up helping us clear off round 33 and a lot of the other camo rounds going on into the game as well. So, fun little fact. So for example, right here, the sniper can barely see just enough camo for you to clear off.
Yeah. And then this boomerang, the more glaze, we haven't seen yet, and I don't think we're gonna see after this, but it's really good.
No.
It shoots these glaives that bounce off of balloons, and in this map, it just bounces in an entire circle, especially for around 36. It's really good.
Yeah, the acquisition range of the tower there, so the area in which the glaives were able to hit used to be a lot smaller, and so it would end up just kind of getting cut off, but again, due to recent changes, well, I guess not so recent at this point, it's been a while, it has acquired a lot more acquisition, so now it does, instead of just hitting a balloon and then just petering off, bounces all over the place. Our good old friend Discount Village is back in the meantime here.
Yeah, with
We
Etienne,
end
the
up getting his
discount.
factory.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, please go ahead.
Yeah, the discount village with Etienne is very nice because then you can just forget about any camo upgrade. So.
Yeah, there is usually a bit of a choice between certain upgrades here. If you were going for a tower which requires a specific type to pop, like leads are usually tough in the late game, so you might get a MIB. But typically our strategies that we end up going for avoid anything like that, and we just focus on getting towers that deal damage in specific ways instead. Round 47 again. Thank you, more glaives. But this is one of the areas here where we end up going for a good old Arctic wind again. And this is another situation here where you could theoretically get your Arctic wind in the middle of the pond and just leave it there. But we like the Arctic wind just to have the slow down aura. Without even freezing balloons, it's still fine, you know? It's still really strong this way. Where Deacon's going to do though is Deacon's going to place a glue in the middle of this track here. Pretty much just trying to eyeball it there between all four sides as best as possible. And is going to be trying to go for a balloon solver for our first tier 5 carry. And as you can tell, the range on this is, it's pretty tight. So the fact that Etienne has given our balloon liquefier a whole bunch of range here means that we can actually start to pop balloons a little bit sooner than we would usually be able to.
Yeah, someone asked, is there a YouTube or walkthrough by the runner or commentator for these maps? So this map actually, Frosty, who's the commentator, has a... This strategy is ripped from his guide. It's modified a little bit. I think we get the Spike Storm earlier, but
yes.
And I think we do things now. We place the Alchemist here because we wanted to buff the sub, which is important. It's nice for the mid game. And we use more abilities, but this is from his guide. I think another strategy that we have is Bloody Puddles. We ripped from the guide from a YouTuber named Dorio. I think the only adjustment is that you do need to micro the Desperado at the start sometimes, or I do.
Well, I suppose it depends on whether you're speedrunning or not now, doesn't it?
Well, yeah. Well, they made a change to the Desperado that makes it, right, with the, oops.
With the reload there?
Yeah.
I don't think it affects the strategy if you've placed the round 8 dart correctly.
Okay.
But yeah. Other guides that we end up using, let me just try to think real quick.
I think,
I think you've got the Sanctuary one correct.
No, the Sanctuary one I have used your Spike Factory. Like we have Sanctuary guide, like we all have Sanctuary guides. So, like if you want like strategies that work, not necessarily the strategies we use here, there's plenty of them. Also, we've all uploaded our speed runs, so some people have commented that they followed those.
I mean, worst comes to worst, if you're ever looking for a way to black border a map, if you follow a speedrun, more often than not, speedruns do not focus on the most micro-intensive strategies, as we like to try to focus on the towers that end up doing the most damage more often than not. And due to that, they are somewhat easy to follow.
Yeah. And then but you can check out my YouTube and Frosty's YouTube. I think, do you have the chat open? You can type in you can paste our YouTube channels if you want.
I will bring it up very quickly. Oh. Sorry, I hear my PC is trying to cook me alive right about now. Australian summer is really something else.
Right, it's summer for you.
That's it. I'm,
meanwhile,
cooking myself alive.
the truck is clearing out snow where I am.
Trade? Trade? I'll trade you for it. I'll take a look. What do you think my name is, Frosty? Right?
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. So, but yeah, then I'm gonna be at GDQ next week. Actually, well, not next week. A week and a half.
Next week. Wow, jeez, it's really snuck
doing
up quickly, hasn't it?
Doing the all true expert chimp speed run, and I'm going to. I have the script like almost written for the all true expert chimps run, so that's the 4 stinkiest maps. For how to speedrun that, so I just haven't had the energy to actually record and make it, but maybe when I'm at GDQ I'll do it. I have some personal life stuff that's been preventing me from doing that.
It's one of the worst parts about having to make decisions here is, do you speedrun or do you end up making guides on how you do the speedruns and everything like that, you know?
Yeah, so...
There's always so much content to try to cover here, more often than not.
Yeah, but so I'm going to make a guide for 4 of the maps, for how to speedrun 4 of the maps. There's actually, like, a bit of subtlety as well, like, when you have auto-start on, things get, like, a bit... There's, like, some things to think about when you're auto-starting versus not auto-starting. I wanted to, like, cover that as well.
Yeah, there's definitely some nuance to it there, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, you end up going for the strongest stim buff there. Do we? Oh no, we do end up going for strongest stim usually, don't we?
Yeah, it was.
Otherwise, it doesn't work for the sub.
And it was I mean, before I used to use the stronger stimulant to try to get it on the Spike Factory, but I think Dorio said you should put it on the sub just for a faster mid game, and it's not really needed for the Spike Factory because when you use the ability, it gets rid of, like, it loses the potions.
Yeah, I think the only downside there, or I mean, I guess the only rebuttal that I would have is that the Spectre receiving the alch buff there, it's not necessarily faster on the sub, it's safer. And that's the big thing here, is that there are specific balloon pops that can end up happening there due to Alchemist timings going down and such, where if you don't have the Alchemist buff on the sub, you don't clear particular mobs fast enough. So having the alch buff on the sub there just guarantees that these rounds go by smoothly. Like, when you know their strategy, there is no RNG in here. It just works every single time, which is the beauty of it.
If you're looking for a strategy for this map, so this strategy is really good. There's also another strategy that uses Psy and the Prince of Darkness, which I love that strategy. But It's unfortunately
Psy in
way
it.
too slow because it has Psy in it, yeah.
So I guess we haven't really covered some of the downsides to some of the heroes here. Psy is also another global hero, and I did mention a little bit earlier that global heroes are really hard to come by. But the main reason why we don't use Psy in any speedruns is because Psy, when they use the abilities that they've got there, or even just their main attacks that instantly pop balloons, they hold them in place for a good 2 to 3 seconds.
Yeah,
So
quote unquote.
every single round that you end up finishing with Psy takes 2 to 3 seconds longer.
Yeah, quote unquote instantly. Right?
Yeah,
The
instantly
balloon
pops
will
it.
pop, and it like guarantees that it pops. It just takes an extra like second every time. So if you're really unlucky, you will lose a ton of time just from using Psy. But Psy's a great hero casually, just not great in speedruns.
Yeah. So it's one of those things where I think, I mean, if we were really trying to make the easiest way of trying to beat some of these maps here with some of the strategies that we're using, Psy would be a great addition.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we have to go fast. Oh, that's also
Psy-
one interesting thing that can happen with Carpenter Spikes there as well, if you want to.
Which thing?
The end of round mid ability. So I guess I'll elaborate here a little bit. So Carpenter Spikes is on a set routine of every 15 seconds it ends up spewing out the carpet, right? But if you get caught at the end of the round while it's spewing out the spikes, it will cut off midway and it will not continue spewing out the spikes into the middle of the next round. So if you get really, really, really unlucky and you have consecutive times where the spikes don't spew out appropriately, you can start to run into a little bit of trouble. But it is very, very, very unlikely. So I guess just don't get unlucky. Oh, we haven't even featured Sabotage yet in these runs, have we? Huh. Sabotage is a really good ability in balloons. It slows down all incoming balloons by 50%.
For quite a
I
long
believe it's
time.
20 seconds.
Yeah, very long time.
It does not include all the spawns out of the balloons though, so if you end up popping a ZMD, those BFBs will be going at a regular speed. However, the main reason why we use it here is that DDTs are fast, and that sometimes your spikes may take a little bit longer to spew out. But the one technology that I'm really proud of in particular with the strat is the Transforming Tonic. So the Transforming Tonic has a ton of PS here, but more often than not, this round kind of over-pierces you more often than not. So having the Transforming Tonics to be able to clear everything off there is really nice. And they also have really long range. It just works, what can I say?
No, 3 again.
Oh, extra 1.5. Oh, it's like 5 seconds of time loss, isn't it? Jeepers creepers. You need to stop being good at the game. Dark Castle time, everyone's favorite.
Yeah, I also do this map in a very suboptimal way. I saw how you do it, and I didn't learn it, so.
Oh my dang, that's a real shame. I'm actually really happy with the new strat that I ended up developing here. So I guess I'll give a bit of context here. This map is arguably the easiest expert map in the entire game. However, it's a little bit hard to optimize it in the late game. We're going to be featuring a strategy that we haven't really shown off to yet, which is we're going to go for subs.
Yeah.
And we've gone for, you know, a sub here, a sub there for first strikes before, or, you know, we've gone for a reactor. We're going to end up featuring the bottom path subs here for this map in particular. And we're going to end up going for a whole army of them. But one of the main problems is that in the late game with something like this, that the denser rounds are a big problem for the subs because they like all their targets to be in one line so they can maximize their damage with airburst darts and everything of the sort. Unfortunately, not the case on this map. So, we have to try to figure out a way to do that. And the new world record strat ends up putting a tower up in the front, the Lord of the Abyss, the one that increases the pierce there, up in front there because it gets access to water and allows you to use Brickle's Mega Mine, where you would only usually be able to use it in the back instead, which is a little bit slow for a map like this.
And using it in the back is also really bad because it breaks all of the Moabs into ceramics that just leak out.
Yes, subs need straight lines here, and unfortunately the straightest line that you've got here is perpendicular to you, which is not a great way to be firing for subs, so we want to try to keep everything where those darn monkeys are or further back, ideally. So we're just going to go straight into an airburst darts here, which is quite strong on this map in particular. Again, keeping things in a straight line so that we can make use of that shotgun effect. Going to be really good. And you can immediately see the difference. When the blinks were almost escaping before, there is no longer any problem here now. Except for that. I mean, you know what? Potato.
That's what Brickle's mines are for.
They're the insurance policy, shall we say.
Oh, I did learn from your run to put your sniper here as opposed to in the back.
Yeah. So, I guess that's also a neat little thing here, is that you can really optimize a lot of balloons placements here. The sniper doesn't really care about which way you're firing here, so a lot of people end up putting it up on top of the castle there for full map range. However, you can't see through the trees until you clear them off at the edge of this map here. And we will be doing that eventually. But in the meantime here, it's best to place the sniper up in front because the darn monkeys can't see the entire lane here. And the sub really likes to be able to just get a little bit of extra range through just being able to see the entrance just a little bit sooner.
Yeah.
The sooner a sub fires, the more damage you do.
I get like super greedy here. I get 2 discount villages early.
You get 2 of them and you live through 36.
36 is not a problem.
You're crazy.
37 is the one, you barely get the 220 sub.
Wow.
In time.
Wow, okay. See, look at it. Even that to me, I'm just looking at that just going like, wow, that's really close.
That's what the mines are for.
It looks really close. It looks scary.
Yeah,
Wow,
so
you
37 gets
there,
scary
okay.
because of the leads, but we barely afford heat tip darts to help out with that.
Yeah, that Brickle mine pile is not long for this world at this point now, is it?
Yeah, but we got naval tactics for that, so.
Yeah, it's all good at this point. It's all good.
Oh, I'm supposed to get this thing. Right.
So do you end up going for the Berserker route, or do you clear off the trees for a slightly faster kill to start this off?
I do not clear out the trees until after 60.
Ah, okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
I clear out the trees after sub commander.
Oh, how interesting. Okay. I've always cleared off trees before that point there.
I will say that my time is like 40 seconds slower than yours, so. I saw the general idea for this strategy, and then I just came up with a route that worked, because I didn't really care about optimizing this map. The other thing is I make this guy the sub-commander, because I want this guy... I want this guy to buff this guy, so I have to get a second sub to do it.
I think the optimal loadout for trying to go for a sub commander is 2 subs and a heat tip dart sub there, or a ballistic missile. So
Oh,
even
okay.
just being able to get the second one down here is better. So
Okay.
all good.
And then I hold off on jungle drums as well.
Yeah, because I think if you get jungle drums, I think you only get subcom after 60, which means that your 60 is a little bit slow.
Yeah. So I think so I don't upgrade this guy to armor piercing yet. I just leave it at triple, and then I think we get sub commander at I think 60.
Yeah,
My notes are
out.
wrong right now, so it says I get sub commander on 62, but I'm pretty sure we get it before then and clear out like 3 of the trees.
Target sighted.
Feeling a bit of vibes
whoops.
based speedrunning, are we?
No, I've done this before, but
Whatever you say, matey.
one thing I haven't done is I've been using ninjas for all of my camo detection in the front, but I might try to switch to the Desperado that I saw you do, just because Desperado is better.
Desperado is technically slightly more expensive, but offers a much wider range, which covers the entire front of the area there.
Yeah.
And is just a little bit easier. So I think it's worthwhile at least.
Yeah, so there's some abilities I could be using, but I'm too lazy.
Hey, look, you know what? At least you admit it, right? At least we're open, we're honest about it. This map in particular is easy enough here. It's Infernal category here. I would argue that this is harder than Infernal though, because you do need to activate abilities a little bit.
The lanes are,
that you don't
I think
die.
if you don't remove the trees, then the lanes are very short, which is annoying. Like when I first black bordered this, I actually did the bomb axis, and that had a very funny thing where I put my balloon crush a little bit too far forward, so it pushed all of my ZOMGs into the trees, and nothing could hit them.
Oh no!
So it took
Fire when ready.
a good 2 hours there at least, right?
Yeah, my black border attempt was like 50 minutes or something.
Jeepers creepers, mate.
Okay,
Holy
so
smokes.
I'm gonna hope that this doesn't cause any issues later.
That should be right, mate. Should be right. See,
Oh,
look at that. You just get
160.
eagle eye on that thing. Yeah?
I thought it was 170. Okay. Oh,
No, it's quite cheap there.
nice.
It's
And
a
jungle
dark
drums.
monkey with longer range there. I think a Desperado is actually cheaper because I think the red armbands end up costing 515 or so, and that's 485.
215. Oh. Yeah, I guess there's muddy puddles. I get like a dart monkey on the top left. I guess that should be a Desperado.
When ready.
Yeah. Hey, look at that. Coming up with meta breaking strats already here.
Oh, I don't have world record on muddy puddles anymore. And I haven't watched the world record yet, so maybe they did that already.
Yeah, and I'd assume it. You know, you probably come pretty darn close at this point here. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. We'll just focus on trying to get you through here more than anything,
Now,
right?
yeah, then here I go straight for preemptive. I don't really get anything else.
You don't end up going for some extra subs to clear off everything here?
No.
Okay. So, I guess we haven't really explained Sub Commander here either here. So Sub Commander is exactly what it sounds like. Sub Commander is it's a sublord. It ends up giving subs extra buffs here so that they do extra damage. And it also has a very powerful main attack as well. So before round 60, we ended up struggling just a little bit. As soon as we hit round 60 there with Sub Commander, we will no longer be struggling until round 81 at this point now. The Super Ceramics do kind of pose a little bit of a threat, but not too much that it's going to be that noticeable until we start trying to get some decent upgrades.
Why is it not firing? I thought it would. Like, is this technically still out of bounds?
Yeah, some of the sub-targeting placements it's really strange. At least from what I've seen, there's like some towers or some targets there on some of the lanes are very peculiar.
Okay.
Like, it will see it. The tower will fire at it, but the subs won't fire at it while it's in that range.
Okay.
So
I thought the issue, because I saw that it happened with the Ninja. I thought that the Desperado would fix it, but it did not. So
unfortunately not. It really do be like that though.
Oh, you can you should link your Frosty Mate VODs channel as well, because that's where all your speedruns are.
Oh yeah, that's right. You're right, I should do that. Yes, I do end up keeping my main channel mostly for guides there for everything, but I have essentially a speedrun dump channel, which is my VODs channel here. I guess I will end up linking that one as well. That's got some really cool speedruns that I definitely recommend that you guys check out.
You do the good YouTuber practice of doing that, whereas I just dump everything in one channel.
I save special speedruns for the main channel there, but that's mostly if I've got some commentary to do over the top of there too, you know?
I'm gonna just blame that for the lack of success on my YouTube channel, not the fact that I only just started making content.
You know, I'll take that blame. I'm more than happy to take that blame for you. You know, it's I ruined YouTube, guys. I'm sorry.
Okay, now we got preemptive. So we've seen preemptive before on Sanctuary, but with Sub Commander, I guess it's just a little bit, just ever so slightly better. And now we're going to get more subs, which you guys can also get a sub by subbing to our YouTubes. I got that joke from your guide.
Okay, alright. I guess I'll have to take that one then if that's the case.
Yeah, it was your, I think you had
really did not expect the YouTube shield there. I thought we were about to start shilling Twitch Prime at this point.
I mean, you can, I think everyone here has used their Twitch Prime for the Long-a-Thon, so...
That's right, you should definitely, if you haven't used your Twitch Prime already, guys, make sure to use it on the Long-a-Thon. Great cause. Help support everything that they've got going on here. Much love to them.
Yeah, there's a... What's the charity?
I believe it is...
ACLU, or was it something else?
Oh, OMF. At least that's what they've got on the title there.
Okay.
I'll take their word for it. There we go. A little bit of good Tetris going on here. So the main idea here is that we'll be using all of this.
Yeah, should I forego the shattering shells and try to get the... Do a little vibes-based speedrunning and try to get the thing?
I'm gonna say no, I don't want you to brick this speedrun right now, okay? We should go with what works.
Okay, fine.
Have you practiced with shattering shells before?
I mean, I don't really use it. I just stick the shattering shells up here because I'm too lazy to do anything properly. But
then do what you know.
Okay,
alright, don't try to do any fight. Don't do it for the bit, okay?
Open Medicine Foundation, okay.
There we go. Thank you very much. Yeah, so one thing that you ended up mentioning there about the subcom buffing of the preemptive there, it does do a little bit more damage, but most notably is that fortified DDTs end up coming through on round 99, and preemptive does typically not do enough damage to be able to beat those. It weakens them very significantly, but it doesn't beat them. With subcom, it one-taps them entirely, so what would usually be a fairly problematic round for you to try to go through.
Oh, does it one-tap them?
It does, watch.
Oh, okay. Because I was getting MIV to...
No need.
I think maybe what happened was I didn't have the guy in range of the subcom.
Have a little bit.
That must have been
muddy
it.
puddles.
Alright, so this is the
Good
same,
old Quincer.
same strategy, but with a horrible beginning, and we use Quincy.
I mean, I wouldn't exactly call it a horrible beginning. I mean, I'd call it a pretty darn finicky beginning here. Round 10 in particular on this one is my, honestly, least favorite round in the entire game. Because I don't know about you, I can never get that dart placement correct. I hate it so much.
I have a problem with the sub placement, actually.
I think the sub placement is a little bit further over to the right there, but I mean,
then,
if you can make this work first try here, then I'm gonna steal whatever you've got going on.
Seriously?
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, it's gotta
this
be like
entire
this.
start here is...
Yeah, so then what you do is you put a dart here. I put all of them to strong, and then I put the mouse on this tire tread, the second one from the top here.
I'm stealing all of this, by the way, I just hope you know.
Yeah, that's fine.
Like, I'm getting my notepad out right now.
Oh, that should have... Oh, that didn't work. How could you have not popped every...
I think it's the top dart placement there, it's...
Okay.
I
I put
tell
them all
you,
as strong because you really need all of those blues to get popped down to reds.
Yeah.
And I was having trouble because I thought it's supposed to be on last, but
Yeah, I think if the dart ends up...
okay.
Not even remotely close.
Man.
I think the idea is that it goes from last to strong as soon as the balloons start trying to round the corner there.
Oh yeah.
But hopefully now, with everything sorted out here, the rest of this should be relatively fine for the most part. The only really questionable thing is probably going to be on round 15.
Yeah, there's this sniper here that you need to place down really quickly, and then I have to sometimes micro it on round 16.
Yeah.
I just micro
it
it.
depends.
Oh, no. Keep it on first. Okay, yeah, there. Now strong. And then once I see stuff here, I put it on first. And then I put it back on strong. And then, yeah.
And then we're all good.
Yeah, just make
Everything's
sure.
A-okay. This round 19, again, can be a little bit awkward.
What am I doing? Wait. Okay.
Seriously?
Wait. What am I doing? I forgot. Oh, no, okay. No,
yeah, you're all good.
this was fine. Oh, this was right. It's just that round sucks. Okay.
Yeah.
And then... Okay, and then we...
I mean, let's be honest here. Trying to play a lot of these maps here does kind of just suck, so... You know, it's okay. If you are struggling with this map here, trust me when I say, don't worry, it's not you, it's just the game.
And we need to ability this.
And then
Nothing indeed gets past his bow.
I don't know how long.
I
don't know how much longer the balloons community can keep gaslighting us like this with it.
I started putting the druid here just to pop these leads better. I don't know if that's what you did, or if that's what
So
other
I
people
put
do.
the druid in between the second and third lanes there because it ends up making it so that the subs see the second lane slightly faster.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So like the sub, as you can see, only starts firing when it's in Quincy's range. But it is what it is, honestly.
Okay. Yeah, I put it here just
I don't
to
think
pop
it matters
the
all
leads.
too much.
Yeah, makes
Yeah.
sense. Anyway, so here we're gonna go straight for armor-piercing darts, and then we're now it's basically it's the same strategy as before, except it's a lot more effective because this is a single-lane map. So
Yeah, even though there's 4 lanes on this map, because we're gradually just rotating through them the entire time, and the balloons are moving directly into us, this is a perfect sub-map. The only real problem that we're going to have is, I mean, there's going to be a few select rounds which are going to be a little bit narky, but the pond that we're trying to put all of our subs in for the sub commander is a little small. You know, it's more of the equivalent of a kiddie pool at this point, so we're going to have a quick little game of Tetris there. I did manage to find the 7 sub spot in there on my attempt yesterday. So I will gift 5 subs if you can do this. First try and find 7 subs, alright?
is this so Desperado here or Ninja?
Yeah, you can do
or
Desperado
Dart?
there, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I like Desperado even though it's slightly more expensive than a Ninja because it offers such a wider area there.
I guess before I was using
Yeah.
a dart actually, so Desperado would just be better.
Yeah. Oh, look at that beautiful Tetris. Yeah, so triple guns there. Beautiful. Or is it 8 subs? I can't remember. I think 7 subs is the norm.
7 subs
up
I
to
think
5.
is pretty easy, I think.
Yeah, 7 subs is the norm. 8 subs is the one that's difficult. Okay.
Okay, I've also failed to place 7 subs before, but
shocking self-report coming through right about now. Don't do this.
but I'm not gonna place an 8th sub because I guess wait, can I afford an 8th sub? Maybe I can, but I upgrade this
definitely
guy
can.
I upgrade this guy to a first strike. Yeah, so I just keep
But we're not
things.
going to be doing anything like that. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm gonna
Not right
keep.
now, at least.
I'm gonna keep everything, but we'll highlight it just to see it. I'll like try to find an 8th sub spot and then.
Yeah.
But I'm actually extremely bad at this kind of Tetrising, so.
It's alright. I only rarely find it like once every 1 in 100 runs there because the only problem is that your initial sub placement needs to be fairly quick, otherwise you game over on the round.
Yeah.
And you've only got a few pixels of wiggle room in there, so,
Yeah.
you know, can't be too greedy. Unluckily enough. So this is one of the only rounds here where we will be making use of Quincy. Quincy typically after the early game kind of just gets a free pass. But we do need to activate at least one of Quincy's abilities there.
I actually use
Turns
this
out-
ability for 78 as well. I think I've died to 78 without it.
That's crazy to me.
After
like,
Aerostorm,
with
his second
subcombat-
rush.
Yeah. With subcom, that's... I mean, I guess if you don't have good camo up in front there, you could, yeah.
Yeah, it might be that. Maybe with the Desperado, it's better.
I mean, we'll have to wait and see. I have to be a little bit humble here now, don't I?
But yeah, you don't need his abilities generally, but they do make things faster. Like, oh, I think also 60. You have to Aerostorm the
arrows there is
insides.
pretty good. I think that's kind of the thing about Quincy and Sorter in particular, is that's the reason why they're so good, is because they have access to a damaging level 3, but then like the fact that they've got a global level 10 there that clears off large ceramic waves
Yeah.
is really, really, really strong.
It's just
So even
Quincy's.
though Quincy can only see half the waves,
Yeah, the Aerostorm
Still
is very good. It's just that the Aerostorm's cooldown is kind of a sick joke on 78 because it doesn't. You're not able to use it on both rushes like you are with Sada's Sword Charge.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. Maybe can you like snipe off a rainbow balloon beforehand with Aerostorm and have it last long enough into?
I think
just barely get it up in time?
I think the Aerostorm has the longest. Like there's like 3 types of cooldowns that has the longest possible cooldown. So you can and also actually his Aerostorm doesn't last. His Aerostorm doesn't come off cooldown either. For the 2 ceramic rushes.
Brutal out there, isn't it? Jesus.
Yeah, Quincy is like I couldn't help but laugh when you said Quincy's a good hero.
Quincy is a good hero. He's just.
I remember. I'm gonna call you out. I remember in one of your Black Border runs, you said Quincy sucks.
Quincy sucks.
And we're all thinking it
until he doesn't. Quincy sucks until he doesn't. All right. When he doesn't suck, he's great.
Quincy's good. Like one thing is with Quincy, if you give him an alk buff, he turns into kind of a monster actually, or with like a perma brew.
He does absorb buffs really well due to his rapid fire being able to take a whole bunch of damage output there. Unfortunately for us, Quincy is just a storm of arrows bot here.
Yeah.
Throughout the majority of this run, but I guess during round 98 he is actually quite good as well in that regard.
Round 98, his rapid shot is incredibly important. But yeah, the only reason we're using Quincy here is because is for the first 20 rounds. It's really difficult to do anything other than Quincy for the first 20 rounds when you have auto start on.
Yeah, that's the difference, is that there are micro starts that allow us to use better heroes and that, you know, allow you to get airburst starts up sooner, sort of thing. But at the same time, that means that you have to stop what you're doing on round 7 to get the sniper timing down on time, and then you have to micro and do everything properly. So it is just easier to try to do this.
Yeah, and then there's like this boomerang that you have to get in a really precise spot, and you need to switch his hands and set him to last. And it's like, no. Like, even this awful round 10 thing with the darts is better.
Which is saying something there.
Yeah.
I suppose the important thing to recognize as well is that even though we're using a suboptimal hero, which, you know, we've seen Brickle here, and Brickle would probably be the go-to if we weren't using Quincy. It is still a testament to how good the strategy is for the map, that it does allow you to just go for Quincy and not have to worry about anything else past this point. Because the rest of this is, I mean, I'm not gonna say trivial, but like...
I mean, as far compared to the other stuff we've done in this run, it's trivial, right?
Yeah. This has the hardest early game, but one of the easiest late games.
Yeah.
Do you not go for a second village here?
Oh, I do not know.
Oh, okay. Can we get 8 subs in the pond? Tetris time. My wallet's on fire right about now. Don't do it to me.
No.
Oh, unlucky. Unlucky. Guess we'll have to earn those 5 subs another day.
Well, I should be using some abilities, shouldn't I?
Nah.
Because we need to get you to sleep.
For reference, those in chat right now, it is, I've stayed up until about 5 AM right about now. It's been a long day. What can I say? Been a long day, and as much as I'm looking forward to watching some balloon speedruns here, I'm also looking forward to lying down and going to take a nap. Ideally not ruining my sleep schedule, but I mean, let's be honest here. We all know what's happening over the next few days.
When are you done with your vacation?
I will be done with my vacation in... So I finish up, so after New Year's I go straight back to work.
Oh, okay, so you have time to fix your sleep schedule.
Yeah, just a little bit at least. And I don't have anything else going on over these next few days, so it should be relatively easy. The problem is that I'm a degenerate, and I like staying up late.
Alright, then we get this.
I think I've done some testing here as well. You don't need this glue.
Oh, okay.
I think you can go straight into the first strike past this point. Because I think with the new amount of damage that you end up going for, you do just have enough damage. So long as you end up microing your body here and activating Quincy abilities.
Headshot. That all you got?
Yeah, so long as you do rapid shot here and yeah, I mean, GG. You know, I didn't even realize it, but I'm pretty sure the 2 first strikes here do just instantly kill this. Yeah. Nuts. Alright,
Okay.
we gamers are down to our final map. We are down to hashtag ouch. Appropriately named if I do say so myself here, but
Oh yeah.
this one is it's a bit of a doozy. 2 short lanes, 2 long lanes, and just not a lot of time to pop a bunch of balloons. So the biggest trouble on this map here is not even necessarily the lanes, it's the targeting. Because when you leave balloons on first here, it's going to pop the ones on the short lanes, but then all the balloons that are about to exit on the long lanes, they get to go scot-free. So we need a strategy that can hit multiple sides at the same time. And I mean, I guess we get to show off a bit of a new variant when it comes to how we're going to be tackling things here, aren't we?
Yeah, we're going to be using Brickle, but this time we're not using subs, we're not using Carpetus Spikes. We are using Carrier Flagship, but the real star of the show on this map is something we haven't used yet, which is the Pirate Lord.
Don't want to ruin the surprise.
Oh,
okay,
sorry.
Well,
Sorry,
that's alright.
what did I say? I didn't
It's
say
your speed
anything.
bump, not mine.
I didn't say
What?
anything.
You said something?
No.
I must have misheard. Okay, alright, well, we got a bit of a surprise for you, gamers. It's coming up soon here, but we got to try to clear off these early rounds first. We are going to make Brickle the star of the show. Brickle is going to be going into the very center of this pond here. And this pond is going to be our lifeline. We need to make use of this water, as turns out that not only are water towers really good, but they're also really good at dealing area of effect damage as well. And we're going to abuse that quite a bit. So we will be still going for an airburst darts to start off with. Usually a lot of strategies would end up going for advanced intel first, simply because it ends up offering, you know, map-wide support here more than anything. We don't care about map-wide support, we care about getting damage down right now.
Yeah.
So
I
we're
mean,
going to go straight into airburst darts.
Yeah, we will get intel, but the only reason we're getting intel is because Brickle will see camo, and we need to be able to pop camo balloons with the intel. The map-wide range itself is not that important here.
That's it. So we're going to get our handy-dandy Buccaneer down at this point. And we're going to start upgrading it. After we end up grabbing some pretty critical upgrades there, we need lead popping at this point.
But we get
5.
I mean, I get enhanced eyesight here. Do we need that?
Yes.
Okay.
You do for round 33 because this Brickle can't see camo until round level 7.
Oh, she can't.
But
okay.
really important to note, we usually Buccaneers' best upgrade is Grape Shot. It is incredibly good. It offers a wide arc of shots there that ends up doing quite a bit of damage. We have to forego that in this early game because our main goal is getting up to Destroyer as fast as possible. Yeah, so for round 33 here, you would miss a whole bunch of those shots there.
Yep.
If you didn't end up having.
I forgot Brickle doesn't have camo. Yeah, maybe I've gotten too used to half cash. So where are you?
Yeah. So when I was running through the strat here, I saw that people ended up getting Grape Shot. Thing is, you don't need it. You can just go straight into a Destroyer, and a Destroyer with its 3 times as fast attack speed has just enough time to clear off those rainbows, which are a big antagonist.
Then Grape Shot.
But now,
we don't.
Yeah, Grape Shot and Hot Shot means that we no longer have any lead problems, we no longer have any area of effect problems. So now we will just start purchasing the other hero of the run here.
No longer have any lead problems until round 90.
I don't know what you're talking about. Lead problems do not exist. There are no lead problems in Busting C. We end up going for a nice old cannon ship here. And unfortunately, we don't end up affording a monkey pirates in time for round 40, which would be a nice alternate way to fast kill this Moab. So instead, we're going to use old handy-dandy naval tactics, which just absolutely obliterates it.
Yeah, it's actually crazy the difference between naval tactics and no naval tactics, because you do not survive without it, but you very easily survive with it.
Yeah. It's, I mean, it is double damage there, which, you know, I guess it's hard to kind of quantify just how much double damage is until you start using it, and you're like, wow, that's a lot of damage we're pumping out right now. Oh, dang.
But that's kind of a theme on this, like, this strategy is going to use a lot of abilities. The fact that we have it, and we kind of have to, like, cycle through the abilities in kind of precise ways. But the fact that we have these abilities to survive is very nice, and not having them is disastrous. So we could actually break this run at the very end. Fortunately, this is the last map, and the estimate is a 410, so I could actually redo this map if I mess up at the end and still be under estimate.
I mean, you have been doing incredibly well with the run so far right about now.
Yeah.
So,
minus 47, so...
I mean, what was your PB again?
It's like a 340, so right now we're at like 339 pace.
If I don't want to jinx you right about now, I think you could definitely PB if you end up making no more mistakes here.
If this is deathless, it'll be a very comfortable PB. What is happening? Okay, let's
Yeah. Funnily enough here, this is one of the interactions where you do have to be a little bit careful with the strategy, which is because the aircraft carrier's hitbox, I believe, grows a little bit larger when it ends up growing into the big ship. Towers that you used to be able to fit into gaps above it can sometimes stop being able to fit. So you have to make sure to use that or place them down beforehand. But we are in the meantime here making use of the Monkey Pirate's ability. We've talked a whole bunch about mob assassins before. Monkey Pirates has the ability to hook in mobs and BFBs, instantly popping them. So again, we're going to try to use the same idea as we would for a mob assassin as it. And we're going to try to catch the last mobs that end up coming through with the hook. Just like that. And that's going to save us just a bit of time.
So the original version of this strategy that I actually got a my first Bloons world record in, we used the bottom path mermonkey, or I used the bottom path mermonkey. The issue is that tower got nerfed, so I didn't know if like this strategy would still work until someone pointed out, hey, use this top path mermonkey. It gives a very nice pierce buff to these boats, which actually substantially improves the mid game as well.
It's
And
pretty
this was-
crazy, isn't it?
Yeah,
I don't think it's actually. I think it either gets 1 or 2 extra pierce, but the fact that you have that extra pierce is just good enough to be able to get you across the line more often than not, and it comes
Yeah.
into play late game as well.
yeah. Does the Pierce buff impact the planes as well? Or does it
I believe
not?
so, yes.
Yeah, so that's also huge. There aren't a lot of buffs that actually impact the planes, so... Like, Overclock doesn't, the elk buff doesn't, But otherwise, this general strategy is what I use to black border the map as well, so...
Unfortunately, I don't think I can recommend this particular strategy that we're doing right now as a black border strategy.
Hey, I made a
As,
guide for this strategy, by the way, and I got comments saying this is the only guide that works because Dorio has a Gwen Glaive guide that doesn't work because people don't know how to get around the Desperado issues. So, because the Desperado got this change, which breaks the start, so you have to place down some Dart Monkeys mid-round to get around it, which I've done, but nobody's made a guide on it, so...
I stand corrected then.
So technically, apparently, according to people, this is the best guide out there for Ouch.
Okay, I stand corrected then if that's the case.
I wouldn't recommend it
alright.
either. There's definitely easier ways of doing it, but I think if you like have time in between rounds to collect your nerves, then it might be easier. Oh, whoops! I need to get that down here. I don't need it. You actually don't need any of the abilities until 80, but...
I was gonna say, it's a little bit hard to talk and try to place down abilities at the proper timing, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
Very easy to get lost in the source.
Alright, so I think we do this, and then that, and then we can get carrier flagship. That was actually incorrect. I was supposed to use the harpoon for 73, but I think this will get popped down really quickly anyway, so...
Yeah,
In fact, actually, maybe it is better to use... Actually, maybe harpoon on 72 is better, because that is a BFB, so...
Probably a little bit better, and you only have access to an aircraft carrier at that point, so...
Yeah, so the carrier... I think
Yeah,
before I would
definitely.
always forget to upgrade to a carrier flagship on 73, so maybe that's why I did that. But when you have the carrier flagship, the missiles are just super good.
Not only that, the little planes with their shots there as well, I think they end up doing a ton more damage too.
Yeah.
So the good news about getting this aircraft, or this carrier flagship up at this point here is that this is just good enough to afford us up into our next little save up here. Which is, surprise! It's a Pirate Lord. We're doing Pirate Lord strats here.
Yeah.
And Pirate Lord's one of those really interesting towers because, in theory, this ability is one of the fastest in the entire game. The ability to hook in 2 ZOMGs means that you don't have to wait for the second to last ZOMG to get popped there to be able to hook in the last one. So, just the ability to hook in ZOMGs by itself is a massive time save. Unfortunately, they ended up nerfing the main attack of it, so it's not as reliable as it once was in the past. However, that's not going to stop us from trying to make it work here today. And Deacon's, in the meantime here, just going to try to preempt a mine for this final fortified BFB that's going to end up popping up.
And then hook this guy, and then for this one we can naval tactics it. So this is another example of a balloon that will destroy us without naval tactics and gets totally melted with naval tactics.
It's kind of crazy as well, because you'd think that with an aircraft or a carrier flagship that you'd be able to hold all of that there, but no, you really can't.
Yeah.
You do need naval tactics to be able to get through that all. So with our Pirate Lord down here and everything, the rounds are still not completely free, mind you. A lot of this does get a little bit close, but as you can see there, just being able to hook in those last 3 VFBs is incredibly valuable. The only problem that we've got with a strategy like this one is that our lead popping abilities are kind of relegated to the carrier flagship's ability to use hot shots, which is the damage over time, and it's a pretty weak lead popper. So DDTs are a massive problem. The way that we're going to get around that is we're going to try to get a glue storm down, which is ideally going to last through the majority of DDT waves. Only slight problem with that is that if you forget to activate glue storm, it is a very swift death, as I have had it happen to me quite a few times before.
Ah.
Look, I am perfectly capable of making mistakes as well, my lad, trust me. I'm nowhere near perfect.
So let's do that.
There's the double hook, and you just see it's just really convenient there as well. There's the hooks.
Oh my god, that was so close, yeah.
Not even remotely close, I don't know what you're talking about.
Alright, let's see if we can get this boat in. Sneak that in there.
Yeah. So with the glue storm up now, we're going to start this rotation abilities here. We're still going to need the regular abilities like naval tactics to try to clear off the majority of these waves. But we always need to save one ability that can help us deal with DDTs. So for example, naval tactics allows all of your water towers to pop any time, which is an obvious answer for around like 93. However, it doesn't last the entirety of round 95. So what we have to do is we have to try to save one of these abilities here. Yeah, it's a bit unfortunate there. It's a little bit hard to time these abilities as well, but we're going to be continuously cycling through them. Yeah. Unfortunately, the thing is, if you get the wrong Megamind positioning and everything, and you end up busting open to a whole bunch of ceramics, it kind of just destroys you. So the reason why we get Glue Storm is particularly for this round, as it lasts the exact amount of time that the DDTs end up spawning, and is just barely good enough. So, we're coming up into the final little section of the run here. Time is going to be called as soon as we end up busting open the final bad, but we've got one small little problem. Round 98 in particular is variability reliant, and we need to try to make sure that we time all 3 of these abilities appropriately, because otherwise it's going to be game over. We need Glue Storm or a Naval Tactics up in time for round 99, so we need to mash this out, and this should just be good enough here. There we go. Don't forget your first strike as well, matey.
Okay, I'm gonna...
Ready in 3, 2,
Oh, no.
1, and unfortunately the cooldown is just a bit too long there. Oh, maybe this time? There we go, and that is time. GG.
Alright, that was still a 339, so that was good.
Hey, congratulations on the PB, matey. Great job.
Thank you. Alright.
My pleasure.
Yeah, so thanks everyone for stopping by. Thanks Really-Really-Long-a-Thon for hosting this. Yeah, so I guess, yeah, shout outs to Frosty. Thank you for joining me here. Yeah, I think that's all I have. Is there anything you wanted to add? Oh yeah, join the Speedrun Discord. You can find it on speedrun.com. So
I believe I can try to chuck in a quick little link to it here if anyone in the chat would be interested. Actually, yep. There we go. I've found it. There we go. Alright guys, so be sure to check out the Speedrun Discord if you're interested in joining up in some balloon speedrunning. We've got a small but niche community who are very helpful, and they're wonderful, and we'll try to guide you through things as much as possible there. It's a great game to get started off if you're looking for a speedrun game. Be sure to check out One Eye Deacon's YouTube channel here for more information and guides here as well in terms of speedrunning and just generally clearing off the game. And I suppose you can also check out my channel as well if you're really interested in some more stuff like that, particularly the speedrunning side of things here. I'll just end up linking that one down there as well. Thank you to Really-Really-Long-a-Thon here to hosting us all here, and I hope you all have a wonderful day / night / wherever you are.